What do you think about that desktop there? That's for episode 200. I normally wouldn't put such things on my computer.
I don't. What's it do?
It's a boing ball desktop wallpaper.
I know, but what is something going to happen? Why is it? Why do we need that for the next show? What's going to happen?
The next show is going to be.
What happened to that earlier? We're just going to sit around chat.
No, you know that would never fly with Team Boat. I've got to pull out all the stops. I got to stay up all night preparing multimedia extravaganza.
I can't believe it. Remember that? We're gonna chill out, relax. I was like, that sounds nice, man. I always thought of this as like a McNeil Lehrer report style show. We just kick back, it's like, Bo, do you remember the time, or what were your thoughts in the during the 64th episode?
Have you ever seen that episode of The Simpsons where they go back to the first episode of Krusty, and it's like in black and white? They're both sitting there in a much similar situation. They're both smoking.
Is there a labor crisis? Poor Krusty. It's a complicated out. Yeah. He's there. It's called Meanie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's called. That's when I was a kid. Shows were like that.
Yeah, that was the excitement of television. Hey, Lobs Terminator. Hey, Michael.
X.
All right. So you ready to start the show?
You should go right now.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm just ready. Press play.
Right. I've got that written down.
Are you? No, that's my line.
Well, yeah, but I've got your line written down.
So you're not gonna booze me until the next show?
No, because that's when we'll have the grand opening of the booze.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Sinclair. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to be talking about Kokotni Wilf.
What's that mean, Boat?
Well, it's kind of a long story.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's one that I'm preparing to make up in my mind as we speak. So, ko in Japanese means small. Okay. So, Coco can only mean really small.
It's super small. Yeah. Small.
Yeah.
And then Tony, the band.
Tony.
Right.
Yeah. So
and then Wilf, it's sort of like a MILF, but with what?
It's like more of a general wolf thing.
So it's an older woman, a very small older wolf.
That's really into Tony. Yeah.
Man, why would they make this game?
Well, that's what we're here to discuss this evening. So, Aaron, did you ever?
What a lead in, Aaron.
Have you ever considered, if you were going to make a time traveling game, because this is a time traveling game.
Yeah, I'm aware.
What period of your life would you like to time travel back to?
Oh, my own life. I get to time travel back to. Let's see. There was a very life-changing experience I had on a bus one time.
A school bus?
Yeah.
Oh, not a city bus.
I was coming back from a trip to Kings Island. I was asleep, and this guy came up and spit on me. I'll never forget that. And my buddy woke me up. I was like, man, that guy came up here and spit on you. And I didn't destroy this guy because I was like a meek fellow. So if I could go back in time, I would wait till the moment that guy came up that spit on me, and I would just beat the hell out of him.
That's right.
I mean, physically as an
Preemptive
adult,
strike.
I would just beat him down, and that'll learn him.
Yeah.
What about you?
8th grade. 8th grade. But I think
it's eerie how these.
Yeah, because Kings Island trip is in 8th grade. Man, every day I would go out to the yard, as it were, at lunchtime.
The yard, like in prison.
Yep. And me and my buddies would get together and we have the Star Trek club. Okay.
And they spit on me?
We were mega popular. Okay. Chad was one of these people, believe it or not.
Well, I knew that. That was obvious.
And man, we would just have such a great time. We'd design starships. We'd promote ourselves to admiral, and admiral. Sort of a level above.
Clearly, you weren't taking time to study your speaking at that point.
But boy, I just remember every day I just looked forward to lunchtime, going out there at Star Trek Club.
How many young fellows were in the Star Club? Because I know there are no girls in it.
Oh no.
So how many young men were in this club?
I think there were about 4 of us.
And
together we formed, an elite unit.
And you every day, it's like you'd run out of material after a while.
Well, it was sort of sometimes we'd LARP,
I knew.
and
oh boy!
And sometimes we just sit down and we discuss, what happened on the previous night's episode of the Next Generation.
And this is that's the Next Generation was on. Now, have you ever been to a formal Star Trek meeting?
I've been to one. I've been to a convention. Is that what you're?
No, I mean Charleston had a Star Trek ship.
I have never been to one of these.
I went to a meeting of there.
Okay.
In fact, it was with the Smith boys. And
that sounds like a very West Virginian name.
There was a very
down with the Smith boys.
Yeah. Do you remember remember a couple weeks ago we did a show, and you asked me if there was really any good-looking girl that was in the school that you can remember. This good-looking girl was a member of this club.
Wow.
And she was the only girl. So she was very popular. And I remember thinking, and this is Aaron, this is a young Aaron, I remember thinking, never have I been party to such a huge gathering of the biggest dorks ever assembled. It was unbelievably dorky. And so that was the only meeting I went to.
Where was the meeting held?
It was in Charleston, like a library, I believe. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
But this really hot girl was there.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I would have kept going back.
Nah, I had no chance.
You could have.
Because my Star Trek knowledge wasn't good enough.
You're not like Wilcox.
I'm not the biggest Next Generation fan.
Oh, this was only Next Generation based.
It was both. But, hey, listen, old school, I could take care of business. But Next Generation, I watched it, but, Plus, I didn't want a uniform. And what did you... Like, when you small group of geeks got together at lunchtime, that's sort of, you know how the penguins get together to fight the cold? It's sort of like that. But when you're actually going out and meeting and making efforts to go out, it's not for protective purposes, then you got something going on there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not interested.
I understand. Well, you know what I am interested in?
What's that?
Kokotni Wilf.
And who is it? We seriously looked this up before the show to see what that meant, and it doesn't mean anything, does it, Bo?
I was unable, through the annals of the internet, to discover the meaning behind Kokotni Wilf.
Yeah, no kidding. So, let's dig deep, Dreamcatcher style, into Kokotni Wilf, released in the year of our Lord, 1984. Published by Elite Systems Limited. This was their first ever release, Bo.
1984, my all-time favorite year of video games.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a good year. Also, it was the last year that a decent Van Halen album came out.
Was it 1984?
Correct. And even that, when the synthesizer started creeping in, you got problems.
That's true. Was Jump on that album?
You got that right, buddy. Oh, yeah, it was on there. This was authored by 4 gentlemen. I looked into their game repertoire. Andy Williams, not the singer, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
I knew what you were saying. I'm thinking. He was responsible for the bomb jacks on the Spectrum. He did Fall Guy, which we talked about. We'll get to that. A Grand National, and then a game that I couldn't help but chuckle over. Frank Bruno Boxing. Do you know who Frank Bruno is?
Was he the inspiration for Rocky?
No. He was the inspiration for Faley. He was also ran British heavyweight that had some success. I will say he did win, as I recall, a form of the world title.
Well, is it kind of like, was he the Sinclair of the British boxing world? Huge in his own country, relatively unknown outside?
Oh no, he was known. Okay. I knew who he was because Mike Tyson, as I recall, pummeled him from pillar to post. But he was over in Europe, and so he'd made a name for himself, Frank Bruno. So he got a boxing game. Another fellow that worked on this game was named Roy C. Green. He worked on a couple of the same games. He also did Battleships, Commando. He did Paperboy, Ramparts. And then you had a couple guys that did very little to nothing. Neil A. Bate, who did nothing else on the Spectrum. And Stephen Lockley, which did Jackal. If you ever played Jackal. I don't know.
I played Jackal on the
arcade
NES,
game I played. Is it the one with the Jeeps?
Right.
Yeah. So these guys had something of a background.
Jackal is kind of a funny game because do you remember what the animation when you throw grenades out of your Jeep?
Yeah, what about it?
Well, it's not really like you'd throw a grenade in real life. In this game, the grenade travels 200 or 300 feet up in the air to where it's almost full size in your face.
It's almost like, as I recall, it's almost like a kickoff or punt.
Yeah.
It goes way up there.
Exactly, end over end. It's a weird thing.
Can you imagine trying to scope where that's going to land from the Jeep? You're in a moving Jeep. I'm going to loft this thing 200 yards straight. This is like a good way to blow yourself away.
Very true.
The original price on this one, Boatster, big money, £5, 99p. And this game here was for the old 48K. So, in case you were wondering. So now, this game has a wacky backstory. It's wacky. By the way, it's also appeared on the Amstrad and the C64.
Right.
So, in Kokotni Wilf, Ulrich, the magician, has a renewal spell. It's a sleep spell he casts on this dragon every year.
Right.
On a bunch of dragons, I guess. If he doesn't cast them, the creatures wake up, and I guess they devour everybody. Not good. So to do this, he needs the dragon amulet. But unfortunately, a la G.I. Joe, and the weather dominator, the amulet's been broken and the pieces have been scattered to the four winds.
You're going to have to explain that. I don't know what you're
watch the old G.I. Joe cartoon?
Mm-hmm. I was afraid of it as a child.
Okay, well, it is violent. They had this gimmick called the Weather Dominator, where the pieces got spread all over the earth because it exploded. And all the G.I. Joes and the Cobra had to go get it.
Was that one of the times where G.I. Joe and Cobra teamed up together?
Well, not really. No, they wanted to kill each other.
Okay.
No. So anyway, this happened again. So you've got to get these pieces, reassemble them. And Ulrich is too old to take care of this. I know how that feels. I'm with Ulrich. You got to hire some sucker to come take care of business for you. So who else do you hire but this dork named Wilf? And here he comes. So now to give Wilk some love, he gives him some magical wings. So in case you played this game, and you're like, "Is this an angel? What's happening here?" It's not.
Just a guy with some wings.
It's some guys. It's a guy with some wings.
We've all been there.
Yeah, that's right. Now, of course, when you spread this crap all over the place, you don't actually just put it in different places. You put it in different.
Locations.
No, that's for suckers.
Right.
You put it in different times. All right. So, and you've got to guide Wilf through these different areas. 6 levels, all in different historical eras. And you begin with the dinosaurs, and you go all the way to the end. I love this. At the end of this game is spaceships and robots. The spaceships and robots you can only find in the year 2001. So, you know.
In the far-flung future.
Remember back in the days we drove around those old-fashioned spaceships and we had all those stupid robots?
Like almost 20 years ago now?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So that's the setup for the game. Now, this game starts out with you in the prehistoric zone. And you've got some...
Which is weird. You'd think that he'd start in his own time.
Well, I guess he's going back in order of appearance. That's all I'm gonna figure. And he goes back, and he has to gather these little. How would you describe the pieces? I mean, almost like a Star of David or something.
Yeah, I mean, they look like little amulets in themselves. I think maybe it's some sort of a Triforce-like thing where lots of little amulets make one big amulet.
Now, this game I think is interesting. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how you found it. I'm just gonna cut to the chase here. Scattered throughout this game are big, solid-colored animals that don't move. You've got dogs, you've got dinosaurs, you've got monsters of all sorts. Okay, they're way bigger than Wilf, and they look, given the time period, they look pretty cool.
Yeah.
This game is. The basis of the game, I don't know what you would... It's not a platformer. Let's call it an action, adventure, exploration game. How about that?
Yeah, I'd say that it's got...
It sort of gets some... It's got a hero vibe to it in a certain way. Except hero didn't have to hit the button a lot.
Right.
You guide Wilf around to these various rooms. It doesn't scroll. It's a single... It's the old single screen scroll. You know, when you leave one, you come on to the other one. Now, I read a lot of people talking about this game because I don't know, this game has some sort of name or a rep or something. And a lot of people...
Well, it's made by Elite.
Right.
And Elite games have a certain pedigree about them.
Well, a lot of people seem to kind of down on this game because it's goofy. And it is goofy. I think to appreciate this game, you have to put yourself in 1984. Now, we did a game a long time ago on the Amigos called Last Ninja Remix. Remember that? Now, do you remember what I liked about that game?
No.
It gave you the illusion that you were sort of exploring in a free roaming world.
Sure.
Right. This gives you that times about 1 million. Like you're all over the place, and as someone who was playing games back then, this game I would have killed to have had this because it gives you the feeling that you're in all these different worlds.
Right.
They did it right, didn't they, Bo?
I agree 100%.
Really? I'm sure you were going to kill it. I'm so happy.
I think that games like this really, especially for this time period, you can scroll freely in both directions.
Right.
When you pass a screen, you can go back to it.
Some places have multiple exits.
Right, right. It's almost like a very easy to understand maze-like structure because you're never truly lost in these worlds. They're pretty linear, but there are different times where you have to take an alternate pathway. If you find that gathering an amulet in one specific location is too difficult, you can just skip it. You're not forced to stay on that screen until you get it. To me,
but you're gonna have to get it.
You're gonna have to get it eventually. To me, this game is a combination between a much easier, much more fun Jet Set Willy.
Yes, I knew you were going there.
A popular game among the Amigos retro gaming crew, Glider. Because you're negotiating, you're flying, you're negotiating a series of obstacles trying to get from left to right in a series of rooms.
I don't get the glider.
You don't get the glider?
It doesn't remind me of. This is way more. This guy's much more controllable.
Well, it is much more controllable, but each scene is like its own little world.
This is like if you. This is like what would happen if you wanted a single screen adventure game, and you're like, you know who? I want our lead character to be the dude from Joust. That's what it reminds me of.
Well, again with the glider thing.
Except he didn't have to flap as hard.
Again with the glider thing, this is glider. Every scene is completely different than the scene that came before it. It's like its own painting. This game is exactly like that. And so many games like this, like if you think about Thanatos, like there's so many screens where you just go through screen after screen of the same general art. This one, each scene, it's like a different painting, and I really like that.
I even like the plot, and you're right about with Jet Set Willy. And this is like this is almost like something that I'm not gonna say it's not a kid's game. Okay, it could be. It could be easily made to be a kid's game just but I mean there is plenty of danger. But I mean it's not. I didn't feel like I was totally screwed.
Now you keep talking about pressing the button. I am quite sure in this game that you press up to fly, and there's no button mashing to do it.
I used the keyboard.
Okay.
So for me everything was pressing the button.
I forgot you've got that jacked up Spectrum.
Well, no, I play this with my keyboard. I always play Spectrum games with a keyboard almost every time. The game's colorful, and as you would expect, it's the kind of. But I mean, they do a good job of. There's not really a lot of wacky color clash or anything. I mean, it looks like the different screens are.
I mean,
colored
there
the
is.
right
You can force some clash if you cover it down. But I mean, it's definitely not ugly. Other than I mean, it's. Spectrum games are sort of garish and what I believe to be an attractive way. I mean, everything is really bright pastels. Yeah. If you look at the C64 version of this game by comparison,
I did not look at it.
It looks altogether drab. I mean, the colors are real muted.
Really?
The Commodore just does a really poor job of rendering the color red. You know, the reds in Spectrum are real red, and I like that. So this is definitely, and from what I was able to gather online, this is the version of this game to play.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I like the different time periods. Now, I know there's a future world, and there's also the past world. There's a like an aquatic, like almost like looks like a Viking ship.
Well, you're going through like very important time periods in history, like 1066. One of the like 17 something, and there's like the witch things are going on, that sort of thing. And
then it looked like maybe some there was a castle in there. Yes, there's a lot. The background, there's a lot of different stuff to look at. You know, this game is tough to go over in a way because if you look at a game like this with modern eyes and you're like, what is this? You just avoid stuff. And that's basically what it is. But, you know, when I play a game like this, and this is one thing you have to think about when you play these older games, is like what would this have been like when it came out? And do I still enjoy playing it? All right? I mean, if you look at Chaos as a good example, it is as remedial as they come, but it's super duper fun,
right?
You know, so how does this then translate? Well, this is sort of in the same vein. The graphics back in those days probably were quite mind blowing. Now they look like super remedial, like you'd make them with like MS Paint. But I mean, is the game still fun? Well, I enjoyed it. Sometimes I like the simplicity. And this game is the ultimate simplicity. Move your guy around, pick up. Every screen has something to pick up, and then go move on to the next screen.
Right.
Simple.
Right.
You know, and who knows what's next?
You know, I think this game gets a lot of bad rep because you know the dinosaurs at the very beginning, they do look like something that might be in a kid's game.
I like when their tongues come out.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it doesn't look like very hard hitting, but the thing is I love the art in this game. I love how different the graphics look, you know, how unique each enemy is. The birds are pretty much a constant throughout, but I mean, all of the other things in this game are all pretty unique. and I love the different settings. I was unable to get past the first time period. There was one thing in particular I just couldn't figure out the timing that I'd have to. This game is as much about dropping as flying, and in some instances you have to fly up to the top and drop at just the right angle to get some of these things.
You know, one thing I've learned, this game is very European, and which is no duh. But there really is. There aren't Americans were not made like this one. No. This is a whole different type of game, and so. But I did get past the first one. You know, you give an ample amount of lives to start off with, which is good. They do very clever stuff. I'll watch the playthrough the whole thing just to get a. I mean, it goes on about half. You know, guy went about 40 minutes. Yeah. There's all kinds of cool stuff with water. Like you said, there's tons of different enemies. There's sharks. There's sailors. There's bats and birds and weird crap flying around. And it's spikes, of course, fire, you know, everything. It's a nice blend, and it's like I said, this game a lot like Manic Miner in a way. You never know what the next screen's going to bring, which I like. There's so much variety that it never gets old, and I don't mind even starting over because it's different. And again, it's another game like Manic Miner, for example. Again, it's not in the same stratosphere from difficulty, but in terms of the way it's set up, it shows you the screen, you know, and there's no hurry, there's no
time limit. They could have sucked all the fun out of this game if they would have given you a time limit to complete the level, like Manic Miner does. I was not a big. I know you like Manic Miner and all that. It's not my kind of game. I
love Manic Miner.
There's way too many things going against it. Like you can have really hard difficulty, or you can have a timed level, but having both, oh no.
Well, but one thing this does, and Manic Miner does it, but of course you're under the gun, is you come out, it shows you what it's got. Here's what I got.
Right. You
figure it out.
Yeah, it's a puzzle. It really is.
Now, there are things I don't like about it. Let's talk about that. So, thing number one, I hate Wilf. I don't like the way the character is drawn.
He is kind of Lionheartish.
No.
You know, Faye.
Don't even get me started, Boat. I'd hate to have to beat you down here on nearing our 200th episode of Amigos. But, I don't like the way he looks.
How would you change him?
I would make him look more heroic, to be honest with you, or maybe just cooler. This game could have been cooler.
Well, okay, you're not dealing with a huge sprite here, so I mean,
I'm
not
more
sure.
Like if you're gonna have a winged guy, make it more like a Kid Icarus, something like that. You know, this guy just I don't like the way it looks. Okay. I also don't like the way he shuffles along either.
Well, he doesn't do much shuffling.
Well, you're very rarely on the ground if you play like me. It's got the usual, if I may quote the magazines, it's got the sound that you come to expect on the ZX Spectrum.
Yeah, immediately muted. Immediately.
My favorite line from the magazines. You know, I didn't. If you look past the simplicity of it and just sit down and play it, I think it's fun.
Yeah.
And trust me, when I sat down to play this, I looked at the first screen. I'm like, well, what is this, an educational title? And the dinosaurs with the tongues, it looks goofy.
It does look goofy.
But I mean, and they're good-looking dinosaurs.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird. I like the game.
I
like the look.
Another unique title for the
It's
ZX
unique,
Spectrum.
all right.
Yeah.
I don't think I've played a game quite like this.
Me neither.
It's a very strange one. So get this, Boat. I was going through the Wickaroo on this. It said this game was released. And a competition was made out of it by Elite Systems. So the magician's purpose in sending Wilf on the mission is only revealed on the completion of the game. Okay. In fact, did you watch the end of this game?
I watched the end of it, but
what a letdown.
I must have missed this.
The last screen's a text. It's some text.
Right. It says the dragons will now sleep for longer.
So the first 100 people to send information to Elite won a copy of the next game, and the next game was The Fall Guy. Now, I don't know if this is based on the TV show The Fall Guy. Do you remember that show?
No. Was this like was it like
remember
Conan?
That show? It had Lee Majors as the stuntman who also solved crimes.
Really? So it was like
I'm not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with fair.
It's like called like the Night Stalker.
It's nothing like that. No, It's not anything. It was Lee Majors. You know who he was, right? He played the $6 Million Man.
Okay.
And most recently, he played Ash's father on the Evil Dead TV show. It also had Heather. God, I get Heather Locklear and Heather Thomas mixed up. Both hot, and in the credits of the show, she's in a black bikini that's burned into my
dancing
mind.
around?
No, just standing there looking hot.
Okay.
And then there's this other geek. That's the other stuntman who's a geek. That's the guy that gets abused, basically. And they go out and solve crime. So I'm assuming that this Fall Guy is based on that show.
Okay.
Go look up the entrance music for it. It's great. You
Okay.
should use it on the Amigos sometime. But I could be way off. Yeah, bam. Thank you, Jason. It's based on the TV show. There it is. Chat room for the win. So that's a good prize, maybe. So maybe one of these days we'll look at the Fall Guy.
I hope so.
Yeah, we'll both sing the theme. We'll get your acoustic guitar out and go to work.
Sounds good.
This game got a pretty good reception. Pretty good. Crash Magazine, the old Crash, and gave it an 84%. Your Spectrum grades things weirdly. And this time it gave it 3 grades, 3 different reviewers. One guy gave it 2 out of 5, and 2 people gave it 3 out of 5.
Weird.
Sinclair User gave it 6 out of 10. And World of Spectrum, the voters there liked it much more and gave it an 8.36. I would Heather Locklear, thank you. And so I would say this is somewhere in the 7 range for me, 6.5 to 7. Perfectly competent, good-looking title, fun, and dumb name and weird premise, but a fun game. So I have to say,
I think you're way off on this one. This is a 9 for me.
Really? You liked it that much?
Yeah. I mean, it's a very simple mechanic, but I could get far. I felt accomplished when I played the game. Yeah. I love the artwork.
The art's great.
The art. It's... Yeah, this is about as good as we've played, I think, on the system as far as I go.
Well, I mean, it is very much. It's almost like if someone said, "Let's take the guy from Hero and just release him from the cave."
Except this is before Hero.
Well, I'm just saying that's what I played Hero first. What could I do? I like the concept. It's nice to have room to move around.
Yeah, absolutely,
because you're always stuck in something. So if it's a little bit of Hero and a little bit of Joust mixed with a little bit of
it's really nothing like Joust.
The guy's flying. The guy's a little bit like Joust, the Joust guy.
He has wings. He looks like a bird.
If you put a long neck on him when he's in the air, it's the Joust. It's the Joust guy.
Well, you realize the Joust guy is not really...
I know, it's an ostrich with the guy one. I got it.
So it's... Okay.
Don't hassle me. We both like the game.
Yeah.
That's the important thing, and I'm also right. You're right.
And I can't tell you, again, you talked about it before, starting out with a generous amount of men, which are known as Wilfs, and the thing is... Now, what would have been even better is if they just would have put in, you get as many lives as you want, and you start from the screen, before you died. But it was a different time.
I did read there's a cheat at this, which I didn't read about until right before I came over. If you, at the start of the game, when the title's displayed, press 2, the number 2, to enter time zone 2, or 3 to enter time zone 3.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So it's a little level skip there.
Yeah, and from what I read, this was put in the game for the guys over at Crash to review it, and they just left it in. That's what they say anyway. I looked this up on eBay, by the way, Bo, in case you want to pick you up a copy. Cheaperoo, 12 US bucks. There weren't a ton of copies, but they were out there, all in the UK, of course, because we get nothing.
That's true.
You mentioned something I want to just talk on real quick, where I was mentioning Hero, and you're like, this predates Hero. You're right. It's funny I think this predates Hero. Does it predate Hero?
It's 1984. There's not a whole lot of Activision action that early on.
It's weird to think that this stuff could have been because everyone knows Hero, not as many people know this in America anyway. It's funny to think that some of these old games that we play that were influencing games that we grew to love, and this could have easily been involved. I mean, a game like this, you could have easily seen how it could have influenced other games.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that this and Pitfall, you mix both of those together and you get Hero for sure. Especially Pitfall 2, which I'm not sure. I think Pitfall 2 might have come out after Hero.
I love Pitfall 2, by the way.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. Cool music in it. I love it.
Yeah,
great game.
It's one of the few Atari titles with memorable music.
I think it had an extra chip in the cart.
Maybe so.
I'm
probably like
sure
a Pokey chip or something. Yeah. Well, Aaron, before we go, I just want to tell everybody, if you are a lone listener to Our Sinclair and you don't listen to any of the other shows on our network, we do have other podcasts. We've got an Amiga podcast called Amigos. And right after this, we're going to record our 200th episode of that. We also have ARG Presents, which is hosted by Aaron and his brother Brent, where they cover a different system every single week. So check those out, both on YouTube or your favorite podcatcher, if you need some more listening/viewing material. ARG is most specifically a watching experience rather than a listening experience. Aaron works hard putting in a lot of dainties on that show. So I want to thank our Patreon supporters, Gary Heather, Gary with 2 R's, Eric Nelson, Harbonaut, Graham Vebke, Frodo NL, Tapes from the Crypt, Pixels at Dawn, Chris Folds, Paul Harrington, and Christopher Hassel.
I've thought about adding a second R to my name. What do you think?
2 A's, 2 R's, all awesome.
2 O's, everything twice.
Maybe.
Probably, I don't think it would change the way it's pronounced.
Probably not. I think at some point all those double letters just cancel themselves out.
I could triple, quadruple them up. Just a big long stretch.
There's a principle I learned in algebra that demonstrates
Maybe
that.
I'll put the R at the beginning. Raring. Like I'm raring to go.
Isn't that what happened on Elvis's tomb?
They put Elvis on there?
No, I think they misspelled Aaron, and that's why people think that he's still alive, because that was his middle name.
Oh, yeah. I remember yeah. Could be right, but
I think he's still among us.
I believe you, yeah.
Next week, we're going to take another trip out to the fields, the athletic fields.
Oh man! All right.
where we hang out all the time.
That's right.
We're going to take a look at Daley Thompson's decathlon.
Oh boy, I've been licking my chops.
This one,
that one. Yeah.
I've played this one. I cannot wait for this episode.
I've heard so much about this one. I can't wait. Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah. So make sure and check us out then. And until then, rewind tape
and press play.
All right.
I'm so happy you like that game. I was afraid you were going to murder it.
Oh, Kokotni?
Yeah.
No, I loved it.
It's so goofy. I just kind of...
You would think I wouldn't like a goofy game?
Well, I know. Bo, you do weird stuff that I can't predict.
All right. Let's shift this over. Now, we've got some time, because I've told people, I've spread it far and wide, that we're not going to start episode 200 until 4 o'clock. I guess we could...
Not got their way through. That didn't feel that short to me.
That was no. It was just we actually started recording soon after you arrived.
We could drink until it starts.
We could. We
break
do
out
need
to break out the black bush, sir.
Okay. Well, I need you to de-mic for a second.
Oh. Now I've got to do stuff.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Well, we won't really.
Okay.
We're still recording.
Yeah, but we got people. They want some entertainment.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we're not leaving. They can still hear us too through the power.
What are we doing?
I'm switching out the placemat.
Oh, okay, yeah. I got you. I didn't realize how fancy this was going to be.
Yeah. Well, Eep was like, "Did you get any balloons or anything?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Did you get any like celebratory like party hats?" I was like, "No."
Remember when we were like, "Yeah, we're not going to do anything special."
I don't remember that. I've always wanted to do something special.
You did not. You're the one that told me you didn't. You're like, "We're just going to chill out," you said. Bring out the bush. Yeah. Edwin gets it. Oh, we got a good crowd in here. Paul and Gary, Pack Billy, your arcade decoration prize. Better late than never. I got it out though. Sorry, I had a heck of a time finding one of those shipping cylinder gimmicks.
Oh yeah.
You can't find them anywhere, man.
Yeah, I was looking at buying them on eBay.
Man, you know where I got mine?
Where?
Office Max.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
2-pack, yeah, but a 2-pack of these things, I don't know who they're made for. $11.
Yeah, well, that's why I never. That's why I never ship posters.
From now on, I fold everything.
Yeah.
And I just wad it.
Just wad it.
And stuff it into a mail envelope. That's what I'm going to start doing. Oh my God. Happy birthday to you. Oh no. We're really expected to wear that?
Yep. Listen.
Can I co-host with the worm again?
Eep spent good money at Dollar Tree.
One good dollar. I'm right back. I brought something that we can't have. I didn't bring it.
What? Drugs?
No.
Oh.
We could have those.
Is stuff bought at Dollar Tree often broken right out of the package?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, like you never shop there. You're too cool.
Did you hear the Disney store is closing at the Huntington Mall?
Why not? Everything else is.
That's true.
Why is that, bud?
Well, I don't know, but I saw on the Charleston Gazette that was shutting down.
You can't smoke this in here, but you gotta have one of these for the 200.
Okay.
Smell that. It's the cheapest possible.
Man, that smells like smells kind of like grape jelly and a fig Newt.
How did you get it in one guess? Yes, sir. What's that?
What do you think it is?
Delightful.
Yeah.
That's right. Good Lord, this is my kind of party.
Yeah.
You got mixed signals going here, you know.
What do you mean?
Well, this is a bunch of kids crap, and then just a bunch of booze.
I didn't see anything on this that said it was kids. This is grown-up party stuff.
This?
Yeah, man. You can't tell me on your 21st birthday you didn't break out a ton of those.
This is gonna be another one of those shows where we come across looking like goofballs, isn't it?
And like,
oh look, my thing already broke. I didn't even put it on yet.
you can fix it. It's literally attached to that paper by the friction of the paper.
My God, these are cheap.
They were $1.
I'm tying mine. I'm sure it won't break. How many of these you got? Are there extras?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what year we started this show?
Yes, I do.
Alright. By the way, I found one of the links is wrong on the list of shows. I wrote down what's wrong with it.
What are you even talking about?
You know that list of shows you've got on our everythingamiga.com?
No, that's I don't maintain that.
Well, but it's for someone's reference. That's what I'm saying. Instantly go past the buck. That took you less than a second to pass that buck. That's not me. It's some other guy.
Hey man, when you're a teacher,
that's working for us.
When you're a teacher, that's what you do 99% of the time.
Teachers,
not my job, not my problem.
Teachers and your buck pass.
Deal with it. All right, Edvin's here.
That's now the party.
Now we can start. Just wait till you see Edvin's video. Just wait till you see all the videos.
Oh yeah, videos. I forgot about those. We're gonna watch.
That's what I spent all day doing.
We're gonna watch this in real time.
Yeah, man. That's what I spent all day getting ready.
Really?
Yeah. I had to remaster all of them to make sure they all had the same levels.
Make sure that you cut all the cuss words out.
No, I put those in. And just voiced over.
Oh, this thing's gonna break, and it's gonna guillotine my head.
And people will laugh.
I got the feeling these aren't made for adults. Have you been able to get yours over your big old head?
I've not attempted it yet. You know what you might do? You might just do this. Look at this.
Yeah, good one.
Maybe I should wear the turban.
No, please don't. I'm in so much pain. Come on, little string. You can do it. Yeah.
Oh, you did it. You look like, I'm not sure. There was a munchkin that had a headgear like that in Oz.
I can't breathe.
Did you already remic? No.
No. These hats, these are no good. These are physically hurting me.
Okay.
If I'm wearing mine, you're darn sure gonna put that thing on your head.
Well, I just gotta tie it. That's why we gave ourselves a little buffer here.
We never have a buffer.
We need a bigger screen.
We need what? Why?
Well, because like I want to show everybody all the stuff that's on the desk.
Hey, wait a minute, isn't it?
Point it down. Huh? What are you talking about?
That screen right there,
Yeah.
it's always there.
Yeah.
Oh, why did you act like it was some kind of extravaganza? I'm confused.
Because the desktop background. Look at the desktop background. Do I ever have an Amiga desktop wallpaper?
Every time I ever see it, it's got a big, huge, blown-up chat window on it.
Right.
So I don't know what background you've got.
Exactly.
You know, I was looking through our mini episodes. I'm going to bring this up. I want to ask you about, you know, one thing that if we've been consistent with any one thing, it's our perpetual infighting. And I can't find any of it, so you must have edited out 99% of our little spats.
Oh, yeah. I normally take out all the major stuff.
I just can't believe you spent that much time editing stuff.
Yeah, whenever we really start going at it.
It's all you.
I won't deny it.
I even fought with the worm.
Took him to task. We almost got this thing ready. Got a double knot it.
You know, the problem is, guys, I am a lover, not a fighter. So other fighters take advantage of my love, and that's both. Look at that. Are you as comfortable as... It looked like your skull was trying to force its way out your mouth. That looks even worse.
I can't fully open my mouth.
That is good stuff. You're gonna tip it back.
I want to be able to see.
Well, I understand, but I mean, we need to be seen too.
That's true.
Hand me the bush. Bush me.
Why do you need that when we have this?
Because we're not gonna open this up right now.
I've already opened it.
But we're gonna. Okay, I'll wait.
Why would we not open this on the show? And
but I thought we were
gonna.
The show didn't start for 15 minutes, and I want booze now. Is my point. So I can have a little pre-booze. Okay. Remember, I gotta go to a kids' ball game.
Yeah, you should show up drunk and smoking a cigar.
Hey everybody,
they love that.
Let's play ball. I love that game. It's one of my most watched videos. I've never understood why. Oh man, the bush is back, yo.
Jed?
You know the funny thing about all the time we spent putting these hats on. Hey everyone, I represent the Lollipop Guild. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Image.
Didn't Graham get us this too?
Yeah.
There you go.
He gets us everything.
This is sort of like the new Dunder Salt. Like, this is the official slogan of our show. Black Bush. It's what's for dinner. Ooh, look at that. I hope all you at home that are joining us here in the chat have donned your party attire, have poured yourself a glass of Black Bush, or how do you pronounce that? Old
Pulteney.
I was going to call it Old Putney. That's what I'm first thought. Like,
I'm not gonna lie to you. That's what I've called it in my head.
We got a bottle of Old Putney.
Do you know who Putnam County was named after?
A fellow named Putnam.
Yes. Do you know who he was?
I have known, but I don't know now. A wise choice. Salute. Oh, that's smooth.
The way that you just gulp it down.
I didn't gulp it.
Does dishonor to the Black Bush.
I didn't gulp it. Look. I will burn you. I see you've got on your formal shorts today.
It's true.
What happened to your sweater vest? There was a series of episodes about midway through that's all you wore.
I'll tell you, honestly, exactly what happened is when I lost all that weight, I never replaced them. So the disappearance of the sweater vest coincides with when I lost 30 pounds.
So if I lose a little more weight, I can get access to a crap load of sweater vests.
I've got a whole tote of them.
Can you imagine me sitting here with a sweater vest on?
I can't. We'd have to redraw our pixel art.
I wore this simple button-up shirt today because I thought it looked horrible, like I told you. And I couldn't get to the door. Oh, look what you're wearing there. You had a hot day? I was like, what are you talking about? This is the ugly shirt. Oh, my God, button-up shirt. You never wear nothing but wrestling shirts now. I was like, son of a gun.
Yeah.
That's so depressing. I never wore shirts. I always wore button-up shirts for years.
You know what? It's cool they call me doctor.
Who
because
does?
The teachers, because I always wear a shirt and tie. And one of the special ed kids, she was like, doctor, whenever she saw me, because like she was around doctors, I always wore suits and ties, so everybody started calling me Dr. Schaller. I liked it. I had a good ring to it. Totally false, though. Not a doctor.
Tell them you're the doctor of desire.
Yes, that would go over well as a middle school teacher.
I thought you meant the faculty called you that, not the kids.
Everyone does.
You can tell the kids that. It's okay.
In what world is that okay?
The kids need to know that you are desired. Doesn't mean they need to desire you.
Boy. Yeah.
I'd be a great teacher. Come here, you little punk.
You call me the doctor of desire.
I thought that was a good name. I didn't come up with that, but have a look at the chat here. But we haven't even talked to the chat, guys. Thank you, Pish. Yeah, the hat string. Yes, that's what I'm worried about. Necronom, the hat string cutting off my head. Guys, pause in here. The huck. What's up, Huck? I watched Huck's. I did watch Huck's because I had access to it.
Terry, truer words have never been spoken.
Terry, are you kidding me? Have you ever talked to your own husband? He's 50 miles of rough road. You know what I mean?
You should introduce him that way on the next episode of ARG.
Here he is, 50 miles of rough road. The Brent.
Every time I laugh, this string cuts further and further into my jaw.
Good. I'm going to try to get you to laugh as much as possible. That looks so painful.
It is. It's incredibly painful.
We need longer. Do they have string extensions that are...
They should. They should sell those. String extensions for the fat.
That's not a new being fat.
Doesn't have anything not to do with it.
How much fat do you think's in your skull? There's only so much. There's a skull there.
People call me fathead all the time.
Who does?
I don't know.
Cut that right up your jaw.
Yeah.
Can you not get it under your chin?
No. That's as far as she goes.
Your face is proportioned weirdly.
It is.
You've got like a hideous scar face now.
Yeah. I have a very weak chin.
How does that feel right now?
That feels better.
Because it looks just horrible. It just looks like...
Now it's starting to cut off my Adam's apple in a weird way.
It looks like the dirt worst.
Move the hat forward. If I move the hat forward, the string's gonna... yeah. The way that the angles of this operation have to be set thusly.
You look kind of foolish.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought I looked cool.
No, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not. So how are we going to do this thing today?
Well,
let's go over the pre-show now that we've got a little bit of time here. What do we got here? We got 10 minutes.
All right. First, I got to get the right paper. Okay. So what we're going to do after we do the introduction is I'm going to give you a date in Amigos history.
All right. What's her name? Bam.
And you're going to tell me what you think happened on that day.
Amigos history?
Yep.
Well, how the hell am I going to know that?
Well, you probably won't.
Here's one reason. When I go back to look at the shows, they're not dated because you redid them all, and they're all linked to YouTube. So I'm just like, what day did this guy? I have no idea what day we started. I have no idea what day we finished.
Well, I can tell you this. If you look at, the way you do this is you look at the blogger site.
I don't go there.
Okay.
It's scary.
Or you just wait till the 200th episode and then I tell you all the dates.
That's the one. That's what I'm waiting for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to ask you a question.
All right.
Okay. And you're going to talk about it.
I'm good at those.
Are you one of these people that eats cigars? Like the judge in the... I
don't eat them. I just like to get a little
like the judge in To Kill a Mockingbird?
Listen, you got to get the cigar. You got to work it a little bit before you light it. Also, we can't light it.
True.
So there's that.
Eep would immediately...
Remember when we were down here smoking? You're like, we're going to smoke pipes.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't go over well when I suggested it to my better half.
Let's smoke pipes. You hit his pipes, all that tobacco. Another one of your quick interests.
I was real into pipes.
I'm going to collect
for a while,
pipes,
yeah.
and the pipes are gone. That stuff lasts like a day.
That's true. That's true. So then I'll play a video, and we'll watch the video, and then it'll just start all over again. All right, I got to take this hat off.
What?
Because
how has it started?
It's physically killing me. I'll wear it around my glasses, thusly.
So much worse.
Actually, to tell you the truth, this is a step in the right direction.
Man, this is going to be our last show. I can tell you that right now. It's over. They see that. No one's going to sit through a show with that going on. My God.
All right.
That's what it's like if you could see the invisible lines that make up longitude and latitude. That's what it would look like. There's a 23rd parallel right there.
I never thought about what life would be like if you could see the invisible lines that make up longitude and latitude.
You don't think about these things?
I don't think about the parallels too often, except for the old 38th parallel. Are there other famous parallels that you know?
Yeah. That's the only one. It's the only one. From a war several decades ago.
Look at this. We call this coming around the bend.
Is that what you call that?
It's like a yo-yo trick.
That's not what I call it. I call it the dorkiest thing I've ever seen. And you're... My God. This is going to be death.
Did you ever do yo-yo tricks? Did you ever do the...
I did.
You
remember the Smothers Brothers?
Yeah.
Remember one of the
I
Smothers
had a
brothers?
tape.
Yeah, there was a big yo-yo man.
Right.
So I saw that guy. I'm like, yo-yo. I gotta get me some of that yo-yo action.
It was a hot item.
Which one do you like? I like the Duncan butterfly.
That was mine because it had a lot of space. You could put when you did the old rock the baby, rock the cradle.
Yeah, rock the baby. It was more like hit the baby with your yo-yo when it flies over, or break the window with
the
yo-yo.
problem that I had is I would yo down one time, immediately tangled, just
is that
beyond
what it's
repair.
called? Is yoing?
Just yo it. Yeah. What else would you call
You
it?
mean you could do it one time? You couldn't do any tricks at all?
It seemed like that was every time I
you could walk the dog or make it spin or do anything?
I had a lot of trouble with the yo-yo.
Yo-yos are cool. Remember they every once in a while yo-yos come back, then they go away for a decade.
The last thing that was the yo-yo thing was there was a it was like a ball, a yo-yo ball.
It's called a yo-ball. Yeah, I had one that there was but if those are spring loaded.
Right.
Well, that's lame.
It kind of
what
took
trick
the
did
skill
you do
out
with
of
it?
it.
Nothing.
Yeah. But it always came back.
That's like, let's devise a robot that can do all the yo-yo tricks. So what's the point of having a human do them? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Don't spring load a yo-ball. Also, a yo-ball, that sucks. I hated those things.
Did you ever have a...
I'm an old man. That's what I don't like things that are new or different.
Did you ever have a skip it?
Is that the thing you put a gimmick on your ankle and you jump right? Yeah, it's funny. My kid's got one. Him and his girl buddy, went out in the backyard, and she couldn't get that thing to work one time, and I wasn't going to show her.
You know, the very best thing, a ball. There's a counter on the ball to try and beat your very best score.
Well, it wouldn't take long.
See if you can skip.
Does it count past one?
When was the last time you tried to jump rope?
It's been pretty recently.
I bought a jump rope.
You did?
Yeah.
When?
It was when I was into the weightlifting thing. Thought I'd supplement my weightlifting with some ollie-like jump roping.
Now I could be wrong here, and I don't want to disparage your good name or anything, but didn't you weightlift for like a week or two, and then you mauled yourself, and then you never weightlifted again?
You're close. I weightlifted for about 5 months.
5 months.
And I did end up mauling myself and writhing about on the floor like a snake, and was unable to walk for a couple.
Because I remember coming over here to see you, and you looked like you'd been like basically a bag of pounded crap.
Yeah. It was bad. That was. But anyway, I bought the jump rope. I realized you can't jump rope indoors easily.
No. Well, it depends on how much space
you need to have very high ceilings.
Not in here, you can't. Yeah. Were you doing double Dutch?
Oh, I was.
Were you getting on the double Dutch bus?
I couldn't even get one revolution. I was like stepping over the rope.
You ever watch? Remember when those things were that double Dutch? That jumper was a big deal.
It still is a big deal.
How in God's name do they do that? They set the ropes on fire. They're jumping 6 ropes. They got 12 people jumping in and out.
When I taught at the inner city, double Dutch is still a big thing. Girls still do that all the time. Yeah.
Where did you teach at the inner city at?
Prince George's County, Maryland.
When was that? I didn't know about that.
2003 and 2004.
How bad? What's it like to teach in the inner city, Boat? I don't think we ever talked about that.
Well, I taught elementary school, so the kids were still pretty okay.
They hadn't ganged up or whatever by then?
But like there were like I wanted this job, and my supervisor was like, no, I'm not going to give this job to a person that's right out of college. So it's a pretty rough area, PG County. But I learned how to deal with classroom management. So when I moved on to other places, it was real easy.
I now understand why you're such a tough guy to work with.
You're right.
Because when you bear down on me like I'm some kind of inner city Ute, and I'm just a good old innocent, good old A, but now you're like, that's not the way. Don't look at that screen. I'll tell you when the chat needs to be talked to. Yes, Boat, don't hurt me. Get the switch. Get the ruler out.
No, I never used the rule. I'll show you some videos though. We used to have freestyle.
Of you chastising and beating kids?
We used to have Freestyle Fridays where the kids would come in and freestyle on the mic. And
in elementary school?
Yeah.
How did that go?
They were awesome. They would have battles with each other, and it was a good time.
Seems like a bad idea to me.
Yeah, well, you weren't there in the mean streets of Oxon Hill, Maryland in 2003.
Is that near Baltimore?
No, it's near D.C. It's right outside D.C.
Screw that. I don't go there.
You don't go to most places.
Best defense, no be there.
Yeah.
Miyagi maneuver.
You're against 99% of the cities in this great country.
City living, it's not my bag. I lived in Lexington. It's a pretty big city.
It is. I mean, relatively speaking, compared to any city in West Virginia.
We don't have any cities here, except I guess Huntington we're still a city.
Charleston's still bigger than Huntington.
No.
Yes.
No. Charleston is, but Charleston's not a city.
Well, it's a metro area.
It has to be above 50,000 inhabitants, and Charleston fell below that even after they annexed everything around them.
Charleston still has more population than Huntington does.
I don't know about that vote.
Well, we're going to look it up. Because we've still got, we got 3 minutes for you to start the show. We got just enough time.
Gary's with me. I don't know what I said that he's with, but he's with me. Thanks, Gary. He
not...
does look dumb in that hat. Is this what we're doing? You're actually going to look this up just so you could. Are you going to chastise me if I'm wrong?
So Charleston, 214,000 residents. Okay.
Yeah.
Get ready for Huntington, 20.
20 residents.
Huntington is a god awful death hole. 49,000.
No, this is all crap. I guarantee you that's all wrong.
Okay. We can ask Wilcox.
So you're trying to tell me that Charleston, West Virginia has 200 and some thousand residents?
Yes.
Bull. And you're trying to tell me Huntington's got 40,000 residents?
Maybe I'm not, but the U.S. Census is.
No, that's not true.
You are kind of an expert.
It doesn't mesh up with the stuff I've read. I'll do some fact finding, and this sounds like an
later.
insert disc too.
Man,
this is gonna crush the City of Hero.
If you thought that one was big,
but are you actually gonna put that over your face like the? I can't tell you how. No one will be able to watch the show.
It does look kind of dumb, doesn't it?
No. Kind of dumb. If you're wearing sunglasses, you can pull it off.
Oh God, my eye.
Happy 200 show. I'm blind. I didn't say take it off.
Well, you already implied it.
Can I take mine off?
Yeah. But I'd like it if you left it on. Your beard protects your head.
This thing's under my beard, dude.
Okay, here we go. Get ready.
I'm going to go door to door and take a census. Do you live here?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 200 of the Amigos. Woo! I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And we're here to celebrate the last 5 years of Amiga action. Yeah.
That's right.
So, Aaron, we've gathered here with our closest friends here in the chat on this lovely...
I know we're here by ourselves.
on this lovely Friday afternoon. And we're going to go through some of the hot hits of the Amigos for the past 5 years.
And then 10 minutes after that, shut her down.
Now, we want to make sure, because I see that you have that cigar in your mouth, that we don't want to speak with the cigar in our mouth.
That's every time I'm going to speak with it.
Because that's akin to eating on the mic.
I meant to talk about this
right before the show started. But
you know I can't eat anymore. Do you understand?
That's true.
You don't have to bring that up.
You've got to replace all of your eating with cigar consumption.
I'm on a liquid diet, if you know what I mean.
Have you ever known, we started talking about this just a second ago, but we kind of let the subject drop. Have you ever known anyone personally that ate cigars, that chewed them up?
You ever seen that movie Over the Top?
No, but I know about it.
Trying to make it over the top. Sammy Hagar or anything.
Yeah.
There was a guy in that was a arm wrestler, and he would eat and there was a real life guy that did that.
Yeah,
I used to see him.
But you've never known anybody personally to imbibe
Who would do that? That'd be like if I asked you, Bo, do you know anyone that eats the branches off of a tree? It's that likely. No one just eats a cigar.
Well, the guy in Over the Top did.
But he was trying to intimidate a sucker.
Oh, he wasn't doing it for pleasure.
No. It was lit.
Ooh. That's crazy.
Assumably, he was also lit. I would assume before. That's the only way I'd do it. But no, I don't know anyone that eats cigars. What's your fascination with that? That's weird.
Well, it's just the way that you're dipping it in the drink there.
Listen, that's the way you do it. That's the way.
Money for nothing.
That's
6 for free.
This is the kind of inner conversation that's made us stars right here. No, people turn this thing off in mass.
So here we go. July 23rd, 2015. This date in Amigos history. What was it?
July 23rd, 2015. Let's see here. I don't know.
That was the first episode of the Amigos Everything Amiga podcast.
2015 July. Now, was that episode 0 or episode 1?
That was, well, I think we recorded episode 0 and 1 on the same day.
I don't remember.
So, do you remember what it was like down here? Do you remember where we were sitting, what we were doing?
I don't remember for that one. I don't.
Okay.
I would. No, I think we're sitting at your table, which right off camera here, and under those lights, and we had your whatever recording rig you had, And I think we had microphones, earphones, didn't we?
Right. We were actually sitting at that long black table, which
Yeah.
was pulled up under here, and we had the USB mics. That was a weird gimmick. Okay, so that was our first date in Amigos history.
Okay. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Now, speaking of history,
Yeah.
one of the things that our listeners suggested on the Discord, because I put out the call, I said, what are some things that you want us to talk about? And they said, well, why don't you talk about your individual gaming histories? And I realized that we hadn't really done that. We did that on our Sinclair, but we've never really done that on Amigos.
I think, well, in the very, very zero episode, we sort of vaguely go into it.
It was also 5 years ago, so it's possible that some people might have not tuned in since then. So, Aaron, tell me about your gaming history.
Well, but my gaming history is long and detailed. If I could go in, no, it's listen, I grew up in the '70s, so there wasn't nothing until the Atari came along. In my case, the Odyssey 2. Which we got in the early '80s, and we graduated from the O2 up, and I love the O2. I think Gary James is in here; he knows, he gets it. And then we moved on to the Color Computer 2, then the Color Computer 3, which I loved as well, and then played a lot of games on there. And then we moved on to the Tandy PC line, and I was with the Tandys up until high school when I got my first Amiga. I'd see my buddies with Amigas. They looked awesome. But also, I used to rag on them something fierce because I used to call them the entrance machine. It would have these awesome entrances, and then the game would be not that great.
Right.
But I was fronting, man.
You were secretly jealous.
That's right, because my IBM couldn't do jack squat. And so I bought an Amiga 1000 for my buddy, and the love affair began. And of course, I've bought and sold 2 Amiga 1000s and a slew of Amigas. I've owned every Amiga that there is, except for, I'm not gonna say that because there's all these weird variants of the 500, but I've had every Amiga there is except for the 1500. I didn't have one of those.
You got a 3000?
Yeah, 3000, wow. 4000, 2000.
I knew you had the 4000T.
CD. I didn't know. I have never had a CD TV, so I'd like to have that one. So after the Amiga ran its course, I sold my 1200 that was decked, and I got a 486 PC. Did the PC thing for a while, but I was jonesing for that Amiga, and so when the opportunity arose to get another one, I was back another 1000, got it back, and have been pretty much on and off playing Amiga stuff ever since. So Amiga's my baby, although I will say, since we did this show, the one thing that I've taken out of it is I fell in love with about 1 million other machines, and so including the Spectrum, of course. I always loved the Atari. My neighbor had one of those. I always was interested in the C64, but I've grown to appreciate it more than I ever did. And other things, wackier things like the Sam Coupe and the Wonder Swan, and all the fun things like that. So that's pretty much the long story. What about you?
Well, I'm going to talk about my history a little bit later on in the show.
Oh, okay.
But if you were, people like to label everything these days. They like to slap labels on people. And, I don't want to say that you're a console guy. I don't want to say you're a computer guy. I don't want to say you're an arcade guy. But if you had to give yourself a percentage in each category, console, computer, arcade, how would you classify yourself?
I would say computer guy. Listen, consoles, no. Although now I've got tons. But at the time, I didn't have any. My brother had those. That was my brother's bag. And the arcade stuff, as much as I was into it, and still am to a certain degree, it came late. And it's an expensive game. But the computer, man, they've always been there.
Would you say 80-10-10?
No, not that much. I'd say 65-20. Nah, not even that much. 50 and then 225.
Okay.
Let's go there. Man.
That's good. All right, Aaron. September 16th, 2015, a mere couple months after we launched the show, we had our first interview.
Okay.
Do you remember who our first interviewed guest was?
Let me think here. It wasn't Sven.
Nope.
It wasn't Will. We talked to him about D-Paint. I don't know. Who was it?
It was Rob Flack O'Hara.
Oh, yes. That was the very first one.
That was the very first one,
wow. Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get a set in, or if you'll recall, that interview took place and I wasn't here. And so I came after. It was, remember, I had to work.
No, we interviewed Rob on the show before he came on the show. So this was not when he came to visit West Virginia.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I love Flack. Flack's a big reason why we're here. It's funny, you hear his name talked about a lot with people. A lot of people listen to his show before they started their podcast. And it's great. And his stuff, and whenever he releases a new show, I'm always giddy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And of course, Sprite Cast on all of those spinoffs. I've listened to, I like almost all of his stuff. I didn't get into the jogging one, although maybe I should.
I think the jogging thing is his friend's podcast.
But I thought he did some sort of exercise thing, didn't he?
No.
No? Okay. He must have just talked about it.
I think he talked about doing it. Yeah. Maybe one day.
Jogging blows.
It's not fun. It's not fun, I can tell you that.
I know a lot of people do it, though.
I'm doing the Couch to 5K. I'm running.
What's that?
3 times a week. You go out, you get the app. The app says, start running. You start running.
What app?
The app that says Couch to 5K.
All right.
Okay. So you get your watch on, right? You get your Apple Watch. You strap it on.
No.
Then you get out your iPhone. You say, talk to me, iPhone. You launch the app. You start running. Your watch goes, and then you say, okay, slow down and walk. Then you walk for a while and start running again. You do this interval training until you feel like you're going to die, and then you go home. And then every day it gets a little bit worse, and then all of a sudden you're running a 5K.
That thing is too expensive. That's a too expensive hobby for me. Because I'd go out there, I have the iPhone, I'd have the Apple Watch. I'd take 3 steps, tip over, land on the iPhone, and then smack the Apple Watch on the ground. That's $7,000 in the crapper right there.
Yeah.
So no thank you.
All right. For our first, I solicited our fabulous Amigos community for some videos if they wanted to share a video about what this show means to them. And we're going to start out with our first one. Our first one comes from the one and only Chris Folds.
Hey guys, congratulations on making it to episode 200. A fantastic achievement. I think I'm one of the few people that actually tuned into week 1, episode 1 when it came out, somehow discovering it, and hear 2 goofballs talking about one of the world's worst Amiga games. Can't believe you chose that for episode 1. I only tuned in for episode 2 to see if it got any worse. Thankfully it didn't. It picked up, and since then it's become a staple of mine. I think I've listened to you guys in my ears for 300, 400, maybe even 500 hours worth of content. Everything from obviously keyboards and keycaps, that's probably 100 hours worth, to boats, cruise trips, Mothman. It's fantastic. I love it all. You guys should be really proud of what you've built. You built not just a show, but you built a community around it with the fans, the Discord, and just keeping Amiga alive for so many folks. That's what the show kind of means to me nowadays. It's kind of one of my weekly escapes from reality. You 2 guys have become kind of 2 of my best friends that somehow I've never met, and I hope to kind of meet with you guys at some point. I'm aiming for Amiga Island next year, so if one of you can make it to there, that'd be fantastic. But if not, I guess at some point I'll make it to West Virginia and get to see Mothman for myself. I'm probably being told Mothman's not in West Virginia, but I don't know. After your explanation of cricket, I can get away with anything. So let's say here's to another, I won't say 200 episodes because I think Aaron might beat you down by then, but let's at least another 50 or 100 before you 2 guys get into a massive fight live on YouTube. So take it easy. Thanks again for all your content. Adios.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much.
That was beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That was inspiring. It's funny. I was just telling Boat there during my painstaking 200th episode research, I was milling around, and sure enough, right here, I even wrote it down. Episode 33, Winter Games, Boat. By the way, that's the one I called in from the car. That was the first time, as far as I could tell, that was the first time we ever mentioned Folds on the show.
Wow.
And you mentioned on here that Folds was developing a game.
That was probably totally inaccurate.
It's what you said.
Yeah.
And so, Folds, we're expecting your game to come out any day now. So
any day.
Get busy, man. But thank you. That was awful nice, wasn't it? And know, Folds, we were just talking about jogging and stuff. He never stops. He runs the switch. He can't even stop to shoot anything. He has to shoot it on the go.
That's right. He was running a marathon as he shot that.
That's awesome. I wonder how he did.
So, May 14th, 2016.
All right.
So this is almost a year later.
All right.
Our first video show.
Yes.
Do you remember what happened? Our first video show. Do you remember coming down into Amigos Studios that fateful evening?
Well, it's funny because I also noted that it came from the desert.
Right.
And I watched a good chunk of that show. But I remember coming down here because you were like, you had told me, I believe, that we were going to do video. I think you may have told me ahead of time. But normally, Boat would just spring, much like this hat, for example. This things just happen. I don't know what's going on. And he goes, listen, we're going to be on video. And I said, oh, man. Because I'm me, big, weird-looking goof. I don't need to be on video. But you insisted on it. And so here we are. And you put up the green screen, the whole 9 yards. And having watched that first episode again, it looks like, if you look real close to that episode, it feels like that the cameraman's got glaucoma or something. It's shot through like one of those terry cloths or cheesecloths. You know, it's all blurry. And we've got these big headphones on, and there's these mics sticking out. It's like
it's a real nightmare.
And the first thing, what I liked about it was, the very first thing that happens, you're like, okay, let's talk about Amiga news, and you're instantly confused as to how to get screens to come up, and we just sit there in silence. And I remember this moment. I remember this moment in history because I thought to myself, this ain't gonna work. There's no way this video is gonna work. And you look so confused. I'm like, we're screwed.
It was a rough start for sure.
So you remember that as well?
I do.
What did you think when this was happening? This is great. That's usually the way you look at stuff.
Well, I knew that I was so set on that green screen. And we could have avoided 99% of all the problems that we had.
Now you hate the green
screen. If we would have just filmed against the brick wall that we're against right now.
You know, if I could take a moment, because I've got something here that's rather topical to that. So I went through the show and determined how many different times we switched camera angles.
Oh, right. No, don't talk about it because that's a big part of this show.
Oh, yep. My. Okay, well, then because there's plenty of them.
Yep.
I'm going to see how good you were about it. But yeah, I distinctly remember that. And I remember going home and watching that and thinking to myself, my God in heaven, this is a bad idea. You need to get off this show now. And I remember wanting to tell you, Boat, no more cameras. We just got to go back to the podcast. But I didn't have the heart to tell you because you already bought. Because as soon as that show was over, you're like, I'm going to get better cameras and lights. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bring in a professional director. I'm going to get a Foley guy. I'm like, oh, Lord. And so we were off the races.
So you asked me about my gaming history. Mm-hmm. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about that. So obviously I'm much, much younger than you are. I was not around in the 70s at all. I was not born until the 80s had already gone past 1 year. I was born in 1981, a good year. My first computer was the computer that you can see right to Aaron's left, the Atari 1200 XL. My dad brought that home well past its sell-by date. The Atari ST had already come out by that point, and so they were giving these things away. In fact, my dad was able to purchase one from one of his friends from work for a very small price. And
you remember what it was? You can tell us now.
I think it might have been $100.
That's pretty good.
So yeah, when you consider that just a couple years before when this thing was released was $7.99. So yeah.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, well, that's a big reason why the 1200 XL is the rarest machine, because they sold none of them.
What were they thinking?
It's like, here's a machine that's just like the 800, except it's 1,000% more.
You know, what was Atari thinking? I mean, Atari and Commodore, the guys running those two outfits, they must have been on super crack. Yeah. The decisions they made were unbelievably idiotic.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, I played around with this thing for a while, but it wasn't long before I discovered that some of my pals at school were playing with this other thing called the Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And from that point on, I lived, ate, breathed, and slept Nintendo. I used to dream about having a Nintendo. I'd have these dreams where it would just be enough that I'd come downstairs and I would see it there. I'd wake up happy. So this is how into the Nintendo. I subscribed to Nintendo Power and read the magazine before I had a Nintendo.
Man.
So
what was the allure, Boat?
Well, the Atari, as great as it was, it couldn't offer experiences that were like The Legend of Zelda or Super Mario Brothers.
Oh God, The Legend of Zelda.
I know you hate it.
I think you could offer those.
And the thing is, I'll be the first to tell you, I was sucked in by Nintendo's marketing machine. The cartoons, the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, Captain Power, all that Nintendo stuff. I just couldn't. I ate it up. I was right in the perfect age. You know, in 1987, I was 6 years old. 1988, I was 7.
Gullible child
idiot. Yes. And so when I got chicken pox, I still remember we drove down to the Circuit City, though it's now a Chinese buffet.
Oh, not a good one either.
That's not bad. It's not. You don't like it? What do you think? What's
It's
your
okay.
favorite? What's your favorite area Chinese buffet? If you don't like that one,
I like the one up here at the
You think China Chef's better?
Yeah, I like it.
And
I like Taste of Asia. Now that's some good.
But that's not a buffet. That's a real
no, it's not.
But anyway, got the Nintendo, loved it. Got the Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, all Nintendo machines. And it wasn't really until I was almost in college when I rediscovered the Atari down in the basement. And this was about the same time that I was getting online for the first time. And I discovered there was this huge community of people that were talking about Atari 8-bit computers. I was like, wow, I've got one of those. That's really cool. And so, and that was when I discovered deeper games like Mule and stuff like that were super awesome. But I never once saw or heard of the Amiga. I got really into the retro scene in college and started collecting for all the systems, got a bunch of games. And I moved to South Korea and I sold everything. And then when I moved back,
bad times.
Yeah, when I moved back though, I moved into this house. This was the first time that I actually had enough space to really display a collection. So I started buying some stuff back. And I got a couple arcade machines and a pinball machine, thanks to your logistical help. And
good machines too.
Yeah. And when you came to me with this idea of starting an Amiga podcast, I was like, well, there's nothing else. There's nothing else like it. There's no English language regular Amiga show out there that's only about the Amiga. And so I thought, well, why not? I was listening to Rob's podcast about the C64. And I was like, boy, why don't we just do what he does for the C64, except do it for the Amiga? And that's how the show was born.
Let me ask you a question. By the way, what was the name of that other Amiga show that we never heard of that people mentioned? It was like, they're like, you guys are just like with the Amiga Round Table or something.
Oh, yeah, because they had stopped before we started.
Yeah. How long, do you recall the length of time it took between when I mentioned to you that we should do a podcast versus when we actually started the podcast?
Oh, it was months and months and months. It was probably 6 months.
Do you recall why that was?
You had to go to Kentucky to do all your training.
I just wasn't that interested really at the time. One day, Boat just called me. He's like, listen, I got everything ready to go for the podcast. Come on over. I was like, uh-oh. And then that's literally the way we started, and we never stopped since.
Yeah. 200 weeks later.
Because, I mean, I had no intention of doing an Amiga podcast or any other podcast. So, yeah, who'd have thunk it?
Well, this is what happens. You have the great idea, and then I go all in, jump in the deep end, and that's...
How do you figure this show has, and I don't mean the Amigas, but I mean podcasting and video production in general, how have you, Boat of Car, managed to not jettison this by now, as you have so many other hobbies and during the 200 episodes that we've done?
Well, as you know, I've wanted to quit several times, and you're always the one that talks me back off the ledge.
No quitting. No quitting. Yeah. Too many games.
And so, I keep doing it because of the people. I keep doing it because of the community. I love the community. I do like the games too. Some weeks I like. And
I will say, the times where you were talking about moving on, there were some bad things going on, real life stuff.
Sometimes I feel overwhelmed because I tend to take on too many different kinds of real world jobs. But these days, living's easy. I love doing the show. I love doing both our shows, and so we're gonna keep going for the foreseeable future.
Too stupid to stop.
That's right. Next date in Amigos history.
All right.
January 11th, 2017.
January 11th? I don't know.
This is where Chris Folds, the one and only, proposed a Slack channel for the Amigos Brain Trust.
Oh, yes. Okay. The old Slack.
So before there was Discord, there was Slack.
Yeah.
And this was, we had formed our brain trust, and we were emailing back and forth these big emails, and Chris said, why don't we try this Slack thing? And the Slack thing works so well that we decided to just open it up to all of our supporters and through Discord. We couldn't do it through Slack because Slack wanted to charge us. Discord is free. We like free. On January 11th was also a date that shall live in infamy, because we moved the site from amigospodcast.com to its current home at everythingamiga.com, thanks to the technical wizardry of a whole bunch of people, most notably Jason Warnes. And
behind-the-scenes master.
Yeah. And
he takes good care of us.
Lots of other folks helped out with that transition, too.
It's funny. I never knew why we left Slack. I mean, I'm sure you told me, but I don't remember nothing.
Yeah.
And so, to me, it was just like, hey, it was all like when we started the show. You just said, hey, listen, go get this and put this in. And I did it. And then and you were like, we're done. We're not going back over here. So I stayed on Slack for a little while longer. And then I was and I had no idea why. So this is the first time I can remember ever hearing why. Just like when you change the URL of the site. I wasn't 100% sure why you were doing it, and I'm still not sure, but it sounded good to me.
There we go. There we go. All right, it's time for another video. You ready, Aaron?
Yeah, man.
2, 1. Happy 200th episode! I feel like we should have party hats and streamers
Celebrate,
and
guys. Seriously, we've loved your podcast from the very start. Like, we do one every week, but we're not even up to 200 yet. So
I know, I haven't got the stamina.
You've beat us to it, and it's amazing to see how your community's grown. You know, Discord, I love chatting to you guys every day. I love coming and seeing John in Ireland. That was awesome. Amiga Island, and it's just great to see you guys from the US really taking an interest in this kind of really big in Europe platform, wasn't it?
Yeah, great to see the other perspective of how things were in America, yeah, absolutely. So keep the passion alive, guys, and congrats on 200 episodes.
Keep rocking for another 200.
Thank you so much, Dan and Ravi. It's amazing. It's the most mind-boggling thing in the universe, really, that these guys are pro major league podcasters. They've got a real show with a real following. They're in Retro Gamer. They're in The Guardian. They're talking to the Queen.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
They talk to the Queen. Wow.
Yeah.
She a big Amiga fan?
She loves the Amiga. And, you know, we're just a couple of goofs in West Virginia.
It's funny. Of course, I'll watch Retro Hour quite often. And, you know, Ravi seems like he's everywhere. And I've watched lots of Dan's videos. You know, he did a lot of YouTube stuff before I even knew it. And they must have started their show directly before or directly after we did this one, because it seems like almost simultaneous that they came out.
Right.
You know, and it's great. Yeah, they're super duper pros.
They get the biggest names in the biz.
You know, my favorite episode there still is when they had when they did the episode on phone phreaking and hacking. They had Captain Crunch on there. I thought that was so interesting. You know, we've tried our hand at interviews with a mixed. Well, you're real good at it, but then throw me in a mix, and it kind of goes south.
It just doesn't really suit our show, I think.
What are we gonna ask somebody?
Right,
What's your favorite kind of moonshine? You know, I don't know what are we gonna say. We don't know.
Yeah. So we leave that to the pros.
Absolutely.
All right. My doorbell has rung.
Is Eve still here?
I don't know if she's here or not. Yeah, she's here. She's here. I hear her.
Outstanding. What's next on the docket, Boaster?
All right. So next up on August 29th, 2017. Okay. You got any guesses?
August 29th. That's the day before my birthday. So I'm guessing we had a major league party.
Oh, all right. Hold on a second. I'll be back.
Doorbell. Live broadcast. What can you do? Well, I'll do what I always do when Boat staggers off and leaves me here to try to entertain people. Let's see what the chat's into today. Who do we got in here tonight? We've got the Lobsterminator, Kate P. Oh, Kate, how you doing? Harrington, Andy Craig, Picard, Duncan Styles. Oh, no. 50 miles of rough road just walked through the door, ladies and gentlemen. Thought you weren't getting here till 5 o'clock, big boy.
5?
No, it's not. Come on in. Where are you going to put this guy?
All right. We got to move this table. And
I'll let you guys handle that.
well, we've also got, I wasn't expecting to have 3 people, so we got to also change our microphone situation.
Okay.
No. I don't need mic. I can just squeeze in the back there.
There you go. Brent is going to do something he's never done in his life. Squeeze into the back. Go ahead, Brent. Begin the squeezing process.
Here, first I need to get this chair and lift it far above my head. Actually, Aaron, get up. I'll hand this to you.
All right.
And then we can just set it like this behind you guys, and I'll set it in sideways.
There you go.
You got it?
Mm-hmm. Ignore that.
It's amazing how quickly you went to suck.
Perfect. There you go. All right. Well,
You guys
Bo,
already started?
looks like you'll have to get the edit cleaver out yet again.
Well, that's all right.
Remember to grab his pop, because he's going to want it. All right. Can you squeeze in there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Look at it. Look, everyone. It's the Brent. Want to say anything to the folks? Don't talk yet. Here you go.
No.
Okay, yeah, we're definitely not doing that.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Okay.
Don't chastise me.
You need to stop speaking with the cigar in your mouth.
Yes, both.
Okay. August 29th, 2017 was our first studio move. Do you remember where we moved to and from?
Let's see. We were in front of the curtains. So this would have been when we moved in front of the television set with no table.
That's very correct.
I hated that.
It was terrible. I had this grand idea that we would display images on the television, and it would just be a fun party. But it sucked because not only were we awkward there, it also ruined the ability for me to use the basement for anything other than a podcast studio.
It's funny. I actually took note of that when I was looking through this stuff, and the one thing that I noticed is that the camera was, I didn't like having the camera aimed at my knees, crotch, and belly, which is effectively what it was. So I can't imagine that was good for viewership.
Now, do you remember what episode that was?
Well, I do because I wrote it down. But what was it? So I don't have to look it up.
Neuromancer.
Neuromancer,
yeah. That was also a poor game.
That
so
was,
that didn't
what?
exactly
I
kick
like that
things
game.
Off. Yeah, I know
That's a
you liked
good
it.
game.
It's a good book.
It's a great book.
Now, just in time for Brent's arrival, we're going to go on a little Amigos studio tour. This was another thing that was suggested by some folks in the Discord. They want to see all there is to see in Amigos Studios.
How's that? Okay.
Prepare to be disappointed wildly. Okay, so I'm just
going to let you take care of business there.
So, this is our recording area. Okay, it is in front. Let's see, let's swing this around. To look at it from this angle, you have, this is what we see. We see this, and this is our alternate screen. This is our recording PC. Coming around here is the dehumidifier that kicks on every time we start the show, and then I have to stop and turn it off. Over here is the plastic Fantastic Mac that I'm trying to rehabilitate, my Atari 2600 Activision collection. Triple action pinball machine that Aaron helped me get from Huntington. Mario Brothers arcade machine back there with a C64 monitor on top of it. My NES black box collection. This is sort of the bookshelf that holds all of our games, including a bunch of Amiga games that Tapes from the Crypt sent us, boxed, sealed Amiga games, as well as our ZX Spectrum collection from so many of you guys that have sent us games. We have the MAME machine that is set up to look like a Neo Geo machine. Currently not working, but Aaron thinks that he solved the problem, thankfully. And we have some arcade marquees that my buddy Chris built light boxes for. And we circle back around to these guys. You've seen it all, folks. That is Amigos Studios.
Is this going to be like LGR? Like now the magic's gone?
The magic's gone. You can talk about it every time we mention this from now on.
That's right.
All right. So, Brent, now that you've joined us, we've talked about my gaming history and Aaron's gaming history. Why don't you talk a little bit about your gaming history?
I have gamed since I was about 6. Started with the TRS-80, I believe. Moved on to the NES, where I was a huge renter of games. Would rent for the weekend, beat it, return it, get a new game. My parents loved that because they didn't have to buy anything. I only owned 3 Nintendo games throughout my life. It was Wizards and Warriors, the Pac-In, and Dark Tower.
Really?
Which was a horrible game.
Wizards and Warriors wasn't great.
No, Deadly Towers.
Okay, Deadly Towers.
Not Dark Towers.
Deadly Towers is a terrible game.
Yes, it is. That was the first time I hacked a game by randomly putting in letters and numbers into the password until it worked, because I hated the game so much I couldn't get past certain points. And then I found myself in a whole new area with whole new abilities and weapons, and I was like, man, this is great. And then I lost that password and never played again.
Oh.
From there, Super Nintendo up to Nintendo 64. And then really I shifted to PC about the Nintendo 64 era. I owned a Saturn, I owned a Dreamcast, and after that I went PC almost all the way. I did own a 360, but that was the last console I've bought.
Would you consider yourself more of a console guy than a computer guy in terms of retro?
Retro, absolutely. Absolutely, because that was my childhood.
Yeah, I'm the same way. All right. January 6th, 2017. So from August, I'm sorry, that should be 2018. August 29th of 2017 to January 6th, 2018. So about 6 months we stayed in front of the TV. And then we decided that it was time, it was enough. After January 6th, we moved a second time. Do you remember where we moved to?
We moved right here.
We moved right here, except the table was facing in a different direction.
Yeah, it was. Our backs were to this wall.
No, that's not correct. Our backs were towards the arcade machine.
Oh, okay.
We were facing this
My
way.
bad. Yeah, that's right, because your computer's over here.
Do you remember what episode that was?
Yeah, I've got it written down, but I can't. What was it? Go ahead and tell us.
If you've got it written down,
well, because I have to go through all these notes.
My
What
gosh.
the hell?
One Step Beyond.
Oh, yeah.
One Step Beyond. Another classic. This was also the first time, I've had this $1,000 tower down here. It's the first time, this was episode 127, that we actually used that machine to record the show on. Can you believe that?
You were using a laptop.
Yeah, I was using a crappy laptop. Like, we couldn't stream and record the show at the same time.
Yeah, I remember.
So, dumb guy.
Of course, then we had to fight this thing's USB ports for...
That's, every machine has its issues. But anyway, Aaron, what I want to know.
Yeah.
Tell me about your favorite episodes of Amigos and your least favorite.
I've got a huge list of stuff. I'm going to go through all of these. But I went through like a bunch of our episodes, just picked out stuff that I thought was amusing, that struck me as funny. Some of my favorite episodes, just game wise, and nothing really necessarily funny happened in them, but I enjoyed the game a lot. Episode 16, Deluxe Galaga, which I just played recently. I love that game. So it's a ton of fun. We had a lot of fun playing that game. We got to talk about episode 29, the Lionheart episode. It's going to be one of our pivotal episodes. I went back and listened to that one, and you weren't super cruel to Lionheart. You developed your hatred for it after the episode was over.
The longer I felt about it, the more I loathed it.
I think that's horrible. Now, do you remember the first episode that Brent was here for?
I do, I think.
Okay, what was it?
I know. Total guess. I did not look. Was it Dragon's Lair?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. It was Worms. Brent's first episode was Worms.
Really?
Yeah.
What episode number was that?
Let me see here. Here it is. Episode 47. That was Worms. And that was also the first episode we used the really awesome background that Paul Kitchen made for us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
So I thought that was kind of cool. There was an episode I couldn't remember, and I'm dying. Do you remember the time we showed up to do the game? We were recording. I don't know if we were singing. We were doing it live. And we did two different games. Do you remember that? I did the wrong game that week, and I remember you had a conniption fit. You don't remember that?
Oh, I remember it. I don't remember what game
I don't either. I looked, but
okay.
I'm assuming you edited that clip out. I was telling Bo before the show that I looked at tons and tons of clip stuff, and almost all of our vicious fights and him beating me down had been removed. So I'm sure just to raise your standing in society, the vicious.
No one needs to see me.
Vitriol and hate. So something else I noticed in the earlier video episodes, and we did this for the longest time, is we would sit here during the intro, and it's stupid. And every time I watch it, I feel like a complete dupe. And by the way, you did it too. We just did it like this, like real still, like that made a difference. I don't know why. That was not good. Another episode that I remember was Hound of the Shadow, which was a gift from, I think it was O'Brien sent us that one, didn't they? And we just said we were going to do it, and we didn't realize it was a text game. I remember that, so we were very surprised when it was almost completely text only. That
was also probably the longest between the time that we've gotten a game and we said we'd review it, and it was literally like 3.5 years later when we finally did it.
Another one that I remember distinctly, Lotus 3, is because you were in France. And so I had to record that one in my room with the TV set and on a Rock Band microphone.
That was one of my favorite episodes. You rapping into the Rock Band mic.
The best part's when you send in your audio review, and I've got a picture of you in a Hawaiian shirt eating noodles. I don't know where that picture came from. I didn't know what the hell that was. Something else I'd forgotten, and Brent, you may remember this. For the Jimmy White episode 77 Whirlwind Snuka, Brent is here for that. Do you remember him being here for that?
No.
I didn't either. I couldn't believe it.
That was when we were facing this direction, right?
Oh, listen, you're asking too much. But Brent was here for that one. And also, I had a full beard. I'd forgotten about that, too.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of these, I had a full beard. I want to mention also in episode 77, thanks to our good buddy Dreamcatcher, he's been here forever. We had Lion-O do that intro. That was awesome. I've never gotten over how cool that was. That was great. I wanted to mention, it's, something that was a running gag for years, and it's funny. I tried to figure when it ended, but it went on for so long I just gave up. Was our billing of that Defender of the Crown box set that just went on forever.
Yeah. I know it's right up there with the keycaps in terms of the story that wouldn't die.
Yeah, you were talking about interviews. Our big break. I remember thinking what a big break this was when you interviewed the Oliver twins on here, which was a great interview. But it was a fairly successful episode, but it wasn't like earth shaking.
It didn't knock down the doors of mass.
I didn't realize how much they had spoke with everyone that would
They'll talk to anybody, obviously.
And then of course the infamous episode 84, the David Pleasant episode where I was scared crap. I was scared like you wouldn't believe, and then intimidated. Pleasance was sort of an intimidating guy. And you told me he was a real sweetheart live.
Oh, yeah. He's a great guy.
He remembered who you were and everything?
Oh, no. I'm sure he didn't. But he acted like he did. He's like, hey, guy. Hey, chief. Yeah.
Another highlight for me, just blazed this, is when we reviewed Walker. I loved Walker, and you hated it so much that I enjoyed picking on you. I thought that was a lot of fun. I loved Walker. Another one of my favorites, episode 104, Kid Chaos. Just because that guy looks so stupid.
Man.
And we agree.
Of all the stupid Amiga mascots, he is the stupidest.
Yeah. And, also, episode 108, Midnight Resistance, that was the last time we ever used the green screen. I can see why. The sound was jacked up. The green screen, my head kept melting into the screen. That's one thing about being bald is that your head...
The shininess doesn't do well with the chroma key.
So that happened quite a bit. Now, another one thing I noticed is in episode 113, Bad Dudes, we were at the table over there in front of the TV. And you talked about, or no, it was before the table. But you go, look, we can talk to each other. This is the best setup ever. It's the best. And then episode 114, that's when the table showed up. So clearly, I must have complained until you put it in there. Another one I loved, and I love this one because we got to sit down and do this together. And it was so much fun. Was the episode 123, the Double Dragon series, where we played all the Double Dragons. That was a lot of fun. We played those on Amigos Plays. It was fun to go through those. Another one, we were on fire, episode 124, one of my favorite episodes we did, Shaq Fu. I love that. That was so much fun, and it was fun to tell people who Shaq was, and then to talk about the game. And we both ended up liking the game, which I thought that was cool. I thought that was a fun one. Episode 125, the Christmas ep, the first appearance of old Chad and good Matt simultaneously. I thought that was interesting.
That was the largest cast we've ever had on an Amigos.
Now, I want to talk about this. This is not really episode specific, but I want to talk about it because it came up so many times when I was looking through these things. It's the boat challenge. Now, I don't remember exactly when you introduced the boat challenge.
I think it was in November.
And people would sign on to the boat challenge over and over. Now, ultimately, the boat challenge sank pretty quickly, didn't it? Do you recall how long you went on the boat challenge?
It lasted until about April.
That's 5 months.
Are we talking? Is this the guy from the Amigo Aaron's weight loss wager telling me how his challenge sank and burned?
Let me tell you something, pal. I'm on it I'm on it big time.
I bet you're on it.
I guarantee I'm doing better than you did on the boat challenge.
We're gonna throw down about our challenges. Who's got the best challenge?
How much money did the boat challenge raise for you?
Thousands.
Yeah, it took money out of the economy. Thankfully, you made up for it pretty quickly after that by spending a ton of money. I had to break that up. Episode 129, Jockey Wilson's Darts. That was a great episode. Also, Jimmy White was another one. Those are so much fun. And even the Battle of the Ashes, that game wasn't as much fun as the other ones. And really, the dart game was crap.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun to learn about.
My favorite episodes are always the ones where we learn about some wacky aspect of a foreign culture.
I love it.
Mostly British culture, because that's where a lot of these games come from.
What was the game that was based on the chips, the puzzle game? You mentioned One Step Beyond. Yeah. Not my favorite game, but it was so wacky that I enjoyed that.
Yeah, the whole aspect of quavers as a snack.
The fact that this game was based around that. And I remember the entrance was so stupid. Another one I had to mention, just because I just thought it was funny, was episode 130, Jim Power. That picture of his girlfriend. I can't get over that. I want that on a t-shirt.
I really want that
on a poster.
That should go on next year's Amigos supporter magnet.
Girl. Now, this is, I picked a couple here that scared me because they were so hard to I didn't want to screw up and look like a jerk. And there's a couple of these. Episode 132, Dune. man, when that got picked, I was shivering. I was like, oh man, this is good. I knew this game was gonna be deep and tough, and I'm sure we probably did. I mean, we did the best we could, but man, that Dune was tough. Another one, I just exactly along those same lines. Episode 166 was Sim Life. I knew that thing was deep, and I remember playing that back when it first came out, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Screw this, you know. But you don't have that option when you do this show. You got to just kind of dig in. Another one I knew was going to be tough. Episode 135, Cruise for a Corpse. But that game stuck in my head. It wasn't the best game, but it was such a unique take on it that I really thought it was a lot of fun. That particular episode. A few of the ones I really enjoyed were when the ones me and Brent did. Because I was scared. What we're gonna do with Boat not here? Because clearly, if you watched the Lotus 3 episode, that was a disaster. So luckily, Brent filled in real well for you for Darkseid and Jurassic Park, and those were pretty fun. And Darkseid actually was a pretty good game, wasn't it, Brent?
Yeah, it's good fun.
We had a good fun. Another one I really enjoyed was episode 157, Terrahawks and Killer Bees and Casey Munchkin off Gary's ports. They were lots of fun, weren't they? We had so much fun with those Odyssey 2 games, so I thought those were pretty cool. And probably the last one on the list, the most notable recent one. Oh, I got to mention 170, the Talking Worm. That was pretty weird, having to play off, having to talk to nothing.
Yeah. That was a new. You got to see what it's like for every Hollywood actor today.
I also should mention any of the episodes where you wear that green suit. Those are no good.
That might come back.
Those are tough to go back and watch. And then lastly, I want to mention the last game that really surprised me because I liked it so much was Chuck Rock 2. I really thought that was a fun game. So that's just a little quick run through. But I went through a ton of these this week, and it's funny. One thing that struck me was we have changed very little. We have not really upped our game or down. That it's sort of pretty much about the same. The one thing that changed, there were two things that really changed. One, we ditched the high score thing that we started. That didn't go. We just gave up.
Well, there were a lot of games that just don't have scores.
But also, I just kept forgetting to do it. Let's face facts. And then secondly, my hardware reviews. Those had to go. Those were. I was nervous about them, and I was just those had. So I'm glad we jettisoned those. So, but aside from that, we pretty much haven't changed hardly anything for 200 episodes. I don't know. Is that good? I don't know.
Well, we'll let the audience decide.
Yes,
about
sir.
That. So, Aaron, February 7th, 2018.
All right.
Okay, just under a year and a half ago, we debuted the second show on the Amigos Retro Gaming Network, ARG Presents.
That's right.
So this
Gosh,
was
when was that again? What was it?
February 7th, 2018.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So this wasn't just starting a new show. This led to a rebranding of all of our online identities.
Yeah.
And it made you very nervous. I remember you saying you weren't sure about renaming all of our social media and our YouTube channel to Amigos Retro Gaming.
It did.
Talking about an Amiga.
It did. I mean, you can understand why. And also, I wasn't sure if people were going to be cool with getting stuff in their subscription feed that was not necessarily Amiga based, but it worked out okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so that was an idea to just spotlight 2 games on a different system every week. You came up with a great idea for the wheel, and that show continues today, obviously, with a different host. So, my favorite and least favorite games, or least favorite episodes. My favorite episodes, just like you, I did not go through like you did. You went through and talked about a lot of specific things. There are just a couple episodes that stick out to me, and they're the ones that have affected my life. Okay, the first one was Jimmy White's snooker. Okay, because I became a snooker fiend for a couple weeks after that show. Where I would get up, Eep would be working late. I'd go upstairs, I'd turn on the YouTube, find one of those great 70s matches, and just pour a cold one and just lose myself in the excitement. And just the whole atmosphere of those old snooker matches. Everybody was smoking, everybody was drinking.
Cheering.
And then the second game, you can't talk about one without the other. Jockey Wilson darts.
See, I knew it. I was the exact same way. I mentioned both those. Yeah, I agree.
And I watched that documentary on Jockey Wilson. The most depressing thing in the universe. When they go back to his town.
When he came to the door.
Yeah, it looked like Milton. I mean, it was terrible.
It did.
And so,
but they were eye opening, weren't they? Yeah. I was the same way. I watched a ton of like snooker highlights and dart stuff. It was a bygone era that's probably one we'll never see again.
Right.
And we really never saw it here. So it made it more fun.
Absolutely. So My least favorite episodes, there were a couple episodes early on that I really just wanted to stop doing the show. And it wasn't because of the games, it was because I hadn't figured out how to properly emulate the Amiga yet. Because at the beginning you're like, man, just play everything on the Xbox, it's going to be fine. Well, guess what? It wasn't fine as of like episode 3. There was just stuff that just flat out didn't work on the Xbox. The Xbox kind of blows when it comes to emulating the Amiga. It's just not good a lot of the time.
It got better since you messed with it.
Well, maybe so, but anyway, so I was like, okay, WinUAE, here we go. Then you have to, this is before I knew about WHD load, and so I was loading up disk images, you know, and having to download individual disk images, unzip them, load them into the emulator. It just sucked. It was so bad. So there were several weeks early on, I'm not ashamed to admit this now, that I flat out just didn't play the game. You know, I'd watch a YouTube thing, and I'd be like, you know what? I'm just going to fake it. I'm going to fake it. Now, I don't do that anymore most of the time. But back then, before WHD load, I was like, man, this is just going to suck. It just, every week, I couldn't get the games to work right, or it was just so much of a pain that it wasn't worth it. Now, after I watched the Cake is a Lie gaming series on how to mount a hard drive file with all the WHD load, it was like the Amiga became like this awesome thing, okay? I can't express how much that one article on how to set up that hard file changed my whole outlook towards the system. And ever since then, you know, like we've done bad games. We've done games that I've been nervous about, but even those games, I don't really feel like, I don't have any animosity towards them like I do those early episodes where it was just so frustrating getting the games working. The games I really remember being nervous about, Sim Life, Dune 2. Those are the two that I was just like, oh my gosh.
It's funny. It's eerie how we're both like that. I know when they came up, because we didn't pick those, we would have never picked those.
Right.
Never.
Right.
Ever would we have picked another one. Elite Frontiers is one that you were because we picked it and you vetoed it along. You were like, "That's just too much." But Sim Life ended up being a real fun game, and Dune, I certainly understood the appeal, of the game. But they were very intimidating games to try to get into. Sim Life, you look at all those charts and stuff, you're just like, holy God. Another one, that timeline, history line, that's another one I was just like, oh boy, it's going to be a tough
but that ended up being okay, because it was like a, like Advance Wars or something.
It's funny,
like
a lot
that.
of the old episodes that I flipped through, you mentioned how much trouble you're having. Yeah. And we often talk about the House 500 and trying to get that thing working so you could have something to play these games on. And I distinctly remember playing when we did Stunt Car Racer. You had never seen it without glitching on it. And I remember the first time I showed it to you, and without the glitch, you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? I've never seen it like this. I'm like, yes, this is why this is great.
Right.
Because your version was jacked up. It was not your fault. Emulation's hard. It's hard.
So, again, that's another big reason why there's not a lot of Amiga podcasts out there. This is not an easy system to emulate. It's getting a lot easier, these days. But yeah. So, it's time to move on to our next film, our next video.
Our next film.
Get ready.
Hi everyone, I'm off to my man cave, and that's where I normally watch the Amigos shows. So I have to congratulate you today on reaching your episode 200. It's been a nice journey, and I hope it will last for a lot longer. So here we're now almost entering my an old garage, which I made into a man cave. So I painted the front to look like a barn. So here we go in. So here is where I brew my beers and watch the Amigos. And of course have my Amigas. Some of them. The others are in storage. And I also have a nice brew for tonight on the tap. Ready for me. So that's gonna be lovely. So have a nice one everyone. And to John and Aaron, go guys.
All right, I'm going to pass the mic. I'm going to pass the mic over to Brent, and Brent's going to talk about his favorite and least favorite Amigos episodes.
Thank you, Edwin. That was awesome.
Thank you, Edmund.
Incredible, man. That's what. When are you going to get into brewing?
That's the next phase. Amigos Brewery.
I'm out. I'm out.
Easily my least favorite episode of the Amigos. Going right to it. We'll go and get the bad one out of the way. Your all's episode of Alfred Chicken.
I knew it.
I hated that you guys did that without me. I hated that you did it so incredibly poorly and didn't get a lot of aspects of the game. Hated.
Just let it be known. Let it be known that I asked Aaron before we did it. I said, Brent is not going to be here. Are you sure you don't want to do another game this week? And Aaron said, no, man. We're doing Alfred Chicken.
Well, it was too late. It was the day of the game.
Doesn't matter. We could have done something else.
You guys shifted days at the last minute. It was like, yeah, Friday. We're fired up. And it was like, oh, Thursday. I was like, I have to go.
I knew you were going to say that one.
Yeah.
Let it go, man.
Never. Favorite episodes? I love the Snuka episode, mainly because I actually knew way more about it than you guys did, and it was fun to watch you guys discover it. So that was a fun episode. I really enjoyed the Dark Seed episode. Obviously, I was a part of that, but that was a great game with a great history and look at some great art. So I really enjoyed that episode. Probably the next down the line, gosh, I guess it would be the Lotus 3 episode.
Why the hell one?
Just because it was an odd twist of what you guys normally do. If you go back and watch that one, you guys really weren't yourselves on that episode.
Yeah, he wasn't here for that one.
Yeah. But you're right. It was very unique. It was totally different because you didn't have anybody to play off of. So
yeah.
You were, yeah.
It was a. I actually remember the John phoning in segment. I was like, this is horrible. Because I don't know if I knew at the time that you were. I mean, I knew you were in England, but I didn't know
France.
Overseas.
Or as I refer to it, the Big F.
But it was such a train wreck of an episode that it was different and it was memorable. So yeah, I would say those are the ones.
Train wreck. Thank you, Brent.
Yeah.
Thank you for your assessment.
All right, Aaron, November 5th, 2018. This was our third and hopefully final studio move, in which you see us as we are in front of the brick wall. Do you know why we moved in front of the brick wall?
I think it was because you got sick of stretching cables everywhere.
That was part of it.
Yeah.
The other part of it was I got that sweet neon sign.
Yeah, that
made.
thing is awesome.
Yeah, and so, but the big part of it is I don't have to actually move any cables. I just pull this table out in front of the computer desk and we're ready to go.
Z-Wolf 2. That's what I've got written down for that.
That's
one.
right,
Yep.
episode 171.
Yep.
Z-Wolf 2, great game too.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting, eh?
All right, it's time for our next video. And thank you, Edvin, for that last video.
I was dying to see the man cave.
Yeah,
so
man,
that was
Edvin,
awesome.
one of these days, I want to get over to Norway.
If I was a beer drinker, I'd be all up in there.
It's never too late to start.
Listen, I'm a booze drinker.
All
Why
right.
not both?
Yeah.
Here's our next video.
Hi John and Aaron, Graham from Sydney. Congratulations on reaching 200 episodes. First off, I wanted to say that I discovered your show through Rob Flack O'Hara. I bought his Commodore book through Amazon and discovered his podcast through that, and he did a cross-promotional episode with you guys, and that's how I found your show. Even though your show was also listed on the same Throwback Network his episodes are listed on. I decided to become a Patreon supporter after episode 62, which was your arcade port episode. I could just relate to your stories, your experiences through the Amiga computers, even though I used an Atari ST during that time of my life, so don't burn me for that. Your shows always entertain me, especially on my long commutes to and from work. Your shows are also informative, and that's why I and everyone else who supports Amigos continues to listen to the shows that you put out. We just love the way how you guys bounce ideas off each other, take little digs at each other, have fun. It's just very entertaining and at times amusing to watch. 2016, when I discovered your show, that was a real tough year for my family. I was working very long hours. My wife was having a real tough time with her mother's cancer battle, and my son was officially diagnosed with ADHD and ODD. So the family life took a real big hit that year, and there wasn't that much fun going on. And your show was one of the few bits of light in that darker year and darker period of my life. The community around this show is really great. The Discord is fantastic, and I've learnt so much. For example, Jason Warnes shared some plans to make one of these things, which is a Amiga RGB to S video adapter. That's a PAL version that I've made. It works like a dream, and it's a real lifesaver. It's fantastic. And because of the community around your show, it's actually why I decided that in 2020 I'm going to make the journey to Amiga Island. So I'm looking forward to meeting everyone who can make it to that event. And lastly, a toast for 200 episodes and 200 more. Cheers!
I'm thinking about going.
Thanks very much, Graham. That was awesome
Graham.
story. And we're so glad that we were able to bring some light into what sounded like a really rough year for you a couple years ago. Yeah,
Graham is a very generous fellow. He's always been super nice to us.
Speaking of Graham, what you see before you, this is a true episode 200 miracle. So the FedEx guy came to deliver this morning. The FedEx people, they say, sometime during the day we will be to deliver. That's all you get. That's all you get. So Eep and I went to the park. Immediately, FedEx guy rolls up as soon as we're gone. And he leaves the dreaded sticker there. You missed us.
I hate the sticker.
And this is a long weekend, you know, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I'm thinking, oh man, Graham timed it perfectly for the booze to arrive on Friday. And it was my own dumb fault for leaving in the morning thinking they would come in the afternoon. And I sent Graham this message. I'm like, I'm so sorry, you know, the FedEx guy came, I wasn't here. And then just an hour before we recorded it, ding dong, for the first time in my life, the FedEx guy came back on the same day. This never ever happens. And he's like, I saw you had some booze and like I wanted to make sure you got it for the weekend. I was like, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. And so he always gives us nothing but the best. And Brent, I apologize I did not set a glass out for you, but
That's okay. Give me the bottle.
Yeah, feel free to drink freely from the bottle. He's given us Old Pulteney single malt Scotch whiskey. I assume this is for me because Aaron doesn't really like Scotch.
I love Scotch.
And
how dare you?
He's purchased Evan Williams single barrel vintage 2011 whiskey for Aaron. So
you chose wisely, Graham. You've done it again.
Aaron, I will pour you a sizable drink.
No, just a smidgen. Just a smidgen.
Boy, that smells great.
That's plenty right there.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Graham.
And
oh, yes.
Now, Brent, are you a fan of the Scotch?
I prefer tequila, actually, but
that's a big difference.
Yeah, no kidding. But I will often sip on anything that's available.
Well, here you go. Have a sip. I'll imbibe during our after show live stream wacky time.
As opposed to this serious time we're having now.
That's right. Serious time's over.
Anytime your booze comes in its own special gimmick,
look at that.
That's some high dollar booze.
And that's a gimmick. Look at that boat. It's embossed on there.
Nice. You're gonna be on a boat like that soon.
Is it good?
That's crazy smooth.
I'm glad to hear it. This is 86 proof, so it'll put hair on your chest. This shape is known as the smuggler's kettle. What it says.
Is that what that is?
Right. So, March 1st, Aaron, 2019. We're getting into this year. Can you guess?
No. Man, that's some of the best bourbon I've ever had.
Really?
Oh man,
you're speechless from the bourbon.
I can't even talk. That is breathtakingly good.
I'm glad.
What was that? What was the question again?
March 1st, 2019.
Okay. March 1st. That was
just a couple months ago, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, unfortunately for Aaron, he can't remember yesterday.
Why are you asking me these? You know I don't have any idea. I don't know what day today is.
The third show on the Amigos Retro Gaming Network debuts, Our Sinclair.
Oh, yes.
So talk a little bit about your thoughts about Our Sinclair.
You know, you were very exuberant about this idea. And I was hesitant, of course, because I I didn't know if people were you remember what I said? People don't want to see me 3 times in a week. That's idiotic. But you pushed me violently forward until I agreed. And I will say, listen, this is no surprise. The spectrum is awesome. We learned that from playing stuff on ARG, and then Brent got a dose as well. Specky's awesome. And so I had no doubt that the games would be fun, but I've enjoyed it way more than I thought. And it is an easy system to emulate, and it's a fun time. It's a nice light hors d'oeuvre before the Amigo main course. That's the way I look at it.
And of course, none of this would have been possible without the generous gift of the Huck, our very own ZX Spectrum that we have right here beside of us. Thank you once again, Gary Hucker, for that.
A great fellow.
You're not going to find too many ZX Spectrums in the hills of West Virginia.
No, you're not.
No, not next to the ramps and the meth. So,
yeah, had to make it dark, didn't you?
It's time for another video, guys.
Okay, great. I'm loving these.
It's rapid fire time.
I like hearing people talk about how great I am.
I know.
It never happens.
I get used to it.
Alright guys, just want to say congratulations on surviving 200 episodes together. I want to thank you both for your hard work through the years, and you've been a great constant in my life through the good times and the bad. It's always great crack watching you live on Friday, except when I don't. And of course it's been an honor to support you through Patreon. I mean, how could I refuse to get my name sung in Boat's dulcet tones? It was great meeting you in Amiga Ireland this year, Boat, and also Figgy, Martin, Pixels at Dawn, and Edvin. I really hope Aaron makes a trip in 2020. Looking forward to the next 200 episodes, and as Bruce Willis says in Lethal Weapon, they may take our lives, but they'll never take our amigos.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that one.
Of course, that was the boss man,
The
Paul
boss.
Harrington. Paul has never told us that he owns a Phil Collins-esque electric drum kit
No
that
kidding.
apparently he just keeps in the back of his room.
He's got a Boss drum set back there.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen him. Like, I've never. That's the first time I've ever actually seen a picture of him or anything.
Yeah, because he's Toe Jam
He's
on the.
he's a handsome gentleman.
He is. He's a good-looking guy, and
we're the lucky few, Paul.
it was great getting to meet him. He's the guy that picked me up from the bus station at Amiga Ireland. It's the first person I met.
Outstanding.
So, Brent, you wanted to add something in here.
Oh, no, I have a few. No, stay mic.
Okay.
I have a few gifts.
Oh.
What would I be if I didn't bring something to the party?
The way you usually are.
I found what could possibly be the rarest Amigo prototypes out there today. And I thought these aren't full games, but I found some box art that I think you might be interested in. Now, the first one we have is Boat of the Amazon Queen.
Oh, man.
And as you can see,
We'll zoom in on that.
Boat has made an appearance. His gaming debut, it might be.
Let me see that.
I think I'm wearing the Sheffield Blade Runners hat, too.
Oh, my. That's good.
That's wonderful. Let's stick that right there.
And, of course, I did find one other one.
I can't believe that.
I found Aaron Hart.
Now this is something special right here. Look at that. Never has Valdine or whatever his name is looked so svelte. Look at that. Look at that.
I don't know if we'll ever find the ROM for these games, but at least we can enjoy the box art.
It looks like I've got an album cover for me. Thank you, Brent.
Set that right up there in front of the bourbon so fans can continue to gaze upon it. Look at that.
Oh, man. I cry sometimes. I know I mentioned that. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you, Brent.
Yes.
That was awesome. And I've discovered that if I just turn this way while you talk, the levels are great.
No,
So
there you go.
from now on, I just face this direction.
Think
for
of
the
how
rest
good
of
it'd be
the
if you just kind of leaned in and hugged him or maybe picked him on the cheek while you're...
All right. So now we've got some special... no, we don't. I skipped ahead on my outline. There's nothing special here.
Coming up.
We're going back in time again.
Oh,
We've
man.
reached the end of our Amigos timeline. We're going back, though, because July 13th, 2017, you've got to know this one.
Amigathon.
Amigathon 1.
Yeah.
Amigathon 1 We raised $925 for Make-A-Wish UK. You, me, Brent, Chad. I can't remember if anybody else was in that first one.
John
was John for the first one?
Okay. He catered that thing.
Oh, that's right. He brought the Qdoba. Right.
I
forgot about that.
Good eating back when I could eat that sort of thing.
Yeah. So this was a 12-hour marathon.
Way too long.
And I prepared a little highlights video.
Oh, God.
For us to remember the good times. I've taken those 12 hours and distilled them down to their essence.
Oh, man. Okay, let's see it.
Sponsored by, well, it's not sponsored by anybody. We're benefiting Make-A-Wish UK.
2 sentences in.
We're here in lovely Hurricane, West Virginia. And for the next 12 hours, we hope you are entertained by our antics and by our Amiga playing.
That's true. I do love it. Listen, I mean, that music's awesome.
It's very haunting. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh yeah! That's a pie in the face right there.
You had to stick that in there, didn't you? That was like a cinder block to the face, what that was. And let me guess, if you have highlights of the last Amigathon, mysteriously the boat pies, the footage has disappeared.
I don't know what happened to it. It got lost. It may never be found.
That's garbage. Human garbage. That's what you are.
I do like how the 12 hours was condensed down to literally 30 seconds.
You condensed it down to you defaming and befouling the Lionheart theme, and then hit me with a pie.
Yes.
And I distinctly remember you screwed up at the beginning. I was like 2 sentences in. I thought to myself, this is never going to fly. We're not making dime one today. It's what I remember thinking.
Now, in addition to actually, we have one more video. I know we've got a couple more videos, actually. Two more that we've not played. So we'll just go ahead and cue those up right now. Here's our next one.
Hello. Hi, Maple. Anyway, congrats on the 200th episode. This is Kate Fox from the Discord. This is Maple. But yeah, thanks for bringing all this Amiga nostalgia into my life and making my week a little bit better every Friday. So yeah, congrats.
Thank you, Kate. Very kind of you.
Cute dog.
Yeah,
That's adorable
what do they call those? Corgis?
Corgis.
Yeah.
Dogs. I believe they're called.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are. They got fur. It's not a cat.
Not a cat. Not a cat.
Thank you, Kate.
Yeah, thank you very much. We also got a letter from our fans. Not everybody sent in videos. Some people sent in text forms of greeting. This one comes from...
What? What's your word like that? Text forms of greeting. I can see you have one of those Star Trek meeting flashbacks, aren't you, Boat? Oh, God. Carry on. Proceed. How about that?
Did you ever used to give your friends orders like that? We used to have like Robert's Rules of Order, but in Star Trek Club, it would be like the Admiral would be able to give people permission to speak, permission denied.
My God, if I could do that, I'd shut everyone in the world up. You think people are going to listen to me bark orders out?
The Amiga, as it was in the 90s, became part of my identity as a teenager. I would rush home from school to play Syndicate, entertain my friends with the latest demo releases, and toil over the works of computer art into the early hours. What the machine represented was special. It would go on to be the foundation of my pursuits for the next 20 years. Because the system represents a connection to my youth, it occupies a specially reserved place in my memories, one that is simple and uncomplicated. When I discovered Aaron and John talking about that part of my youth in a way that complements my revered view of the Amiga, I was transported back to those times. They've created something, through their humble approach, that captures the qualities I'd bestow on the Amiga. More than that, their efforts have created a community, one without the infighting, egos, and drama we so often see in the wider community. That is no small feat. The Amigos podcast, in my own opinion, represents everything that the Amiga was and should be. In a turbulent swell of online drama and negativity, the Amigos hold fast, riding out the storm with unfaltering weekly persistence. I might not be able to listen in as often as I might like, but it's reassuring to know that the Amigos lighthouse prevails. Here's to you, Aaron and John. May the Amigos light shine on. Will Williams.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, well said, sir.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. I felt like a king or something after that.
Right, yeah.
A lighthouse of Amiga, yes.
City on a hill.
I love it.
So, remember, Will was actually one of our first Brain Trust people. He has that Counting Virtual Sheep channel.
Beautiful. He does photos.
Yeah. He's a really talented guy.
He was featured heavily in our Deluxe Paint episode.
Absolutely, he was one of our
by
early
that I mean
interviews.
that's another one we didn't know what we were doing. It's like, hey, everyone wants us to do a Deluxe Paint episode. Yeah, better get someone that knows what they're talking about.
Okay.
Thank you, Will.
It's time for our next date, July 7th, 2018.
That Amigathon 2.
Amigathon 2.
This one had everything went smoothly. Not one single cock up.
If you thought
24 straight hours of joy.
If you thought Amigathon 1 was a little rough, wait till you see Amigathon 2, where we tried to do this for 24 hours. Of course, we had they had to replace a cable modem, an internet router. Everything that possibly could go wrong almost did go wrong. However, we had a big cast of folks. Brent joined us again. Hose was here. John, Marshall, Chad, Terry, Christian, and
Luke.
We had tons of people. Everybody got a turn playing some Amiga. Once again, I've distilled it down to its essence.
Oh, man.
Wow, it's just going to be a no signal thing.
Listen, it's time to get serious.
When the flush of a newborn sun fell first on Eden's green and gold, our father Adam sat under the tree and scratched with a stick in the mold. And the first rude sketch that the world had seen was joy to his mighty heart, till the devil whispered behind the leaves, "It's pretty, but is it art?"
That's beautiful, Boat.
I wrote that.
What am I looking at here?
I get it. It's like ninja.
If the Death Star and a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle had a kid. I can't wait to see his. Wow. Is Liam Angelo a zombie?
Hey, look, it's some stuff. Do you know what the objective is, or we're just stumbling in the dark here?
I think that you eventually you have to talk to somebody. This is the real game section that is going to be a single elimination tournament of thumb wrestling and rock, paper, scissors.
God.
One.
I haven't done this since like 30 years.
One. What are you doing? You can't yank your hand away. That was nice.
There it was. 24 hours of Amiga action.
No one likes a crooked thumb. I noticed you cunningly didn't put any of the parts where we were all having conniptions. I guess because they weren't straight.
Yes.
It's funny how
Let's reenact it.
Now we've got a couple of other text messages that have come in about our 2 other episodes. Tapes from the Crypt from Texas wrote in. He said,
"The tape.
It's been said that simplicity beats complexity, so I'll keep things simple. One of my favorite podcasts, incredible hosts, a fantastic community, and a whole lot of fun. Cheers to 200 episodes, and here's to many, many more." Thank you very much, Tapes.
Tapes is a great guy.
We also
Man at the Moon Heart.
We also have one more that came in from Matthew Perron. And I am currently trying to find that right now. It was one of those things where I had it and then I erased it, and now I've had to find it again. Hey, amigos, greetings from Saguenay, Quebec, Canada.
Are you natively French, Boat? That was amazing.
I know. Congrats for your 200th episode. Amigos for me is 2 awesome hosts with great chemistry and a wonderful community that is growing each week. You are fueling my love for my favorite computer, one podcast at a time. Thank you for all you are giving, and Godspeed for the next 200 episodes. Don't forget, Soulement l'Amiga Poot Vus Valorier.
Who can forget that?
I
Did you have a stroke while you were saying that?
I believe those are the lines for the Necronomicon.
I know, kidding. What the hell was that?
So
your French needs work. Didn't you go to France recently? How did you get anything done over there?
I didn't make many friends over there, I can tell you that.
Mon frere. It's like, you kidding me?
And we've got one more fan-submitted, listener-submitted video. Another one of our all-time great contributors, really the backbone of the website.
Hello from Canada. I wanted to congratulate Boat and Aaron on reaching episode 200. It's an impressive accomplishment and really shows their passion and dedication. I also want to congratulate the others that do such great work to help contribute, like Dreamcatcher and his incredibly creative and deep articles, like Gary Hucker and his great tech videos, like Duncan Stiles and his reviews, Chris Folds and his videos and articles, the countless others on Discord that really help make the Amigos community so great. I found the Amigos back in September of 2016 during the Battle Squadron episode because I love Battle Squadron. In that episode, actually, Aaron was having some phantom mouse click issues that I did a little bit of research on and sent in some information to John about just areas to help troubleshoot. John replied back and he was so impressed he had asked if I could do an article on it. So I did, and after that I've been hooked. I find myself looking forward to every new episode, and I try to catch the live ones when I can. And I can't thank you guys enough for the warm reception and the friendship that I've found with you guys and through you guys to the rest of the Amigos community. Here's to 200 more. Adios, my friends. Oh, and here's a little snippet for Aaron. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Take off, eh?
Yes, thank you. That is for me. Just he knows what I like. I love it. I love it. And we were just talking. It's the first time we've ever seen him.
Right. It's the first time that we've seen a few of these folks, actually. So this has been really, really cool. And I told you that was the last one, but it was not the last one because there was one more.
You forgot about the man, the main man.
That's right, the main man, the Pixels man, Pixels at Dawn.
The Pix.
Yeah. So I've also lost control of my mouse. Okay, it's back. And
call Jason. Unleash the tendrils.
Pixels at Dawn here. Well, Aaron, Boat, Brent, congratulations on reaching your bicentenary. It's been a while, hasn't it? I have to admit, I had no inclination that the show would go on for quite this long, but you've made it work. You've really made it work. I was looking back through the records of where I started watching the Amigos, and it actually surprised me a bit that through one of my YouTube accounts or the other, I've actually been subscribed pretty much since day one. A little bit after that, maybe. But although it wasn't until a little while in that I started watching the show religiously week after week, joining the live streams and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, one of my earliest memories was suggesting Boat to play Nick Faldo's Championship Golf on one of these Amigos plays, and discovering that within minutes of me actually posting this on Facebook, he was already streaming it on the channel. So that was certainly put me in a good mind. But yeah, it's been great. So many games covered, and such good humour of it as well. Who knew that I would be watching our West Virginian retro gaming champions at this point in time? And it's not just about the show either. It's about all the charity stuff with Amigathon and things like that, which a lot of podcasts wouldn't be doing. And also it's about the community as well. I mean, it's not just people in the show, but it's the people around the show as well. I've met quite a few of you now, and it's such a special community, and such just everyone's nice to each other. That's the great thing. And now with the Amigos Game Selection Committee and all that kind of stuff, I feel like I'm really part of the whole thing. So well done. It's been great. Here's to another 200 episodes if you feel you can make that much. But cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pixels. Thank you very much, and thank you for running the Amigos Game Selection Committee. You make the wheel turn.
Pixels is a real go-getter.
Yeah.
And he's been a real good friend of ours for a long time. Pretty much almost everyone that wrote in, we've all been buddies and we've known each other for a while. It is nice, the social aspect of it, which we didn't foresee. I didn't foresee most of this, actually, but you did. I got to give you credit on almost everything, because I thought we would just make a little podcast. But we've got the Discord action, we've got the website, the YouTube. I never would have thought we'd done any of this. We've met so many great people. It's been quite a treat.
So before we close this bad boy out, I'm wondering if each of you has an all-time favorite Amigos moment. An all-time least favorite Amigos moment.
Well, that's easy. I know that one. Violently being punched in the face with a pie, I'd say would be right at the top of the list. I know I went on and on about this, but I can't stress to you how painful that was. It sucked. My all-time favorite Amigos moment, where I felt the most delight. It's funny because it was on Amigathon. When we got back on the air, we were under, especially you, since it was your house and it was your stuff, but we felt a lot of pressure to deliver a 24-hour marathon, because we'd had a lot of support from a lot of our friends in the community, and a lot of people had paid good money to that charity to see us do our thing for 24 hours, and it was very painful when that thing went down. We were really under the gun, and you stepped up, and between you and Brent, John, luckily he was here, and everyone got together and got the problem fixed. And when we got back on the air, and that was a tough marathon, it really was, but there was a lot of delight when we kicked that back up, and a lot of relief. And so when I think of times that I had the most joy, and it was for a good cause too, I would say that's probably the top of the heap. Getting the show back online, and we got through it. Mm-hmm. And I'll admit that when we staggered through that last half hour, it was brutal. It was brutal, but I felt quite a sense of accomplishment. I thought we did a pretty decent job, all things considered. So I'd say that's going to be right up there. What about you? Actually,
you kind of stole my thunder, but maybe for a different reason. By far, my favorite moment involving the Amigos was when the Amigos marathon went down. But not for the reasons you might think.
Thanks, Brent.
It was because, all of us were here. There was a large number of us here. Mm-hmm. And we all immediately started troubleshooting the issue. We were on our phones. We were trying to reach out to the community, let them know what was going on. And for that brief moment, and I guess it wasn't really brief. It was several hours.
For that brief 4-hour moment.
It wasn't that long.
It was really everyone working together with a common goal, and it was because we wanted to get out there and entertain and enjoy and inform and raise money. And no one gave up during that whole period. No one gave up. Everyone gave all that they could to try to get it back going, and that was probably my favorite Amigos moment. I would say the worst Amigo moment for me was just seeing that when the changes that have taken place over the Amigos over the years, we had a few fans that aren't with us anymore, not fatally, but something had happened, and a gender was discussed incorrectly to someone who was doing work, and it looked like things were going to actually produce drama, the drama no one wants in a community like this. And for that brief moment, it was bad. It looked like things were going to fall apart, but everyone really stepped it up, knew it was an honest mistake, and we followed through, and really nothing like that's ever happened since. It was the people that were offended left, and everyone was just like, if you're offended, sorry about that. We're going to keep on rolling and doing what we do. So those were both the upside and the downside for me. Yeah, that makes a lot. I can tell you my least favorite moment was
Amigathon hour 22 to 23.
You were not happy.
It came from the desert. A game that I don't like, it's in general, and having to play for an hour and having just like, and people were not being unkind. They were discussing other things in the background, but for whatever reason, it was annoying me just to no end because I'm trying to concentrate on what's going on.
Oh, there was a good reason. It was hour 22.
Yeah, yeah. And boy, I had really reached the end of my rope. And you know, of all the bad things that came out of losing all that archive, that's probably a good thing that's come out of it because I don't want people to see.
Yeah, because really, when we pied you, it was I was unpleased.
Yeah,
you were because it was just like kicking a dead puppy. And I was just like, Boat, keep it together. We're just going to get through this. But you were not happy.
Yeah.
I know you were really tired. Of course, you'd also been running all the cameras and stuff all night, so you were beaten down.
It had been a long day psychologically with all of
this year. I'm sure it'll be much smoother.
I hope so. Now, my favorite moment of the Amigos has nothing to do with you guys. It's when no, I'm just kidding. It's when I went to Ireland and I got to meet people face to face for the first time. It was amazing the welcome that I got, and everybody. It was like we were already friends and we never met. I mean, you have that sometimes with people you meet on the internet, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes you meet somebody online and you're like, oh, this person is not who I thought they were. But everybody was just so warm and inviting from the time that Paul picked me up at the bus station and getting to meet Figgy and Edvin and Ian. And it was so much fun hanging out with those guys. The only bad thing was that it was so short, and so I'm hopeful that one or both of you guys will get to go to Ireland and get to experience that because it was so cool.
One thing I do want to mention, there's a couple of people I want to mention that just to give acknowledgement to. One is our good buddy Dreamcatcher. He's been with us, it seems like forever. I mean, he's there way back. In fact, if you listen to the early episodes, you often refer to him on the EABs.
Right.
And he's been here, and he said he's a talented.
He is Brain Trust member number 1.
And he's also a guy who has unlimited potential. And is a professional writer through and through. Tremendous. Another fellow I want to mention was, and he helped us out tremendously when we did our Amigos challenges, was Brutal Barracuda. He did some really good videos, and so we had a lot of fun with those. We really need to bring those back at some point, those high score challenges. Another fellow, boy, sadly I can't remember his name, was the fellow that helped us. It really ran the Kickstart and Amigos magazine.
Oh, Neil Mansell.
Neil was a very talented and
still is still with us,
and a great guy. The magazines were I go back and read those sometimes, and they were a lot of fun. We did a couple articles here and there. I've never done any sort of. I mean, it was fun to do, to write something. It was kind of.
But
neat.
he really put in a ton of time.
He did, and so, I know when he finally stopped. I mean, I talked to him, and it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
Yeah,
and Neil really worked hard on those, and so that's something I want to mention. Those things are all still available, much like Dreamcatcher stuff, which I urge everyone to go back and have a go at because they're a lot of fun.
We actually have one additional video that I've forgotten about again. thanks to Terry for seeing that on the Discord and springing into action. I didn't notice it because he actually uploaded it to our own channel, which is fine. And so I'm going to pull that up momentarily. Thank you again to Terry for pointing that out.
She's done it again.
She's done it again.
How did you get her? How'd you pull that trick?
Luck.
There's got to be some sort of weird satanic brain control in there. That's all I can figure.
Oh, well, yeah, that earworms.
Yeah, I was wondering about this.
Yeah. We'll fire this up here.
Our good buddy.
Huck. Congratulations, John and Aaron, on 200 episodes of Amigos Retro Gaming. I started listening way back in the early days, probably around episode 4, and to my surprise here were these two fellas from West Virginia doing an Amiga podcast. That was interesting in itself. pretty wacky, I'd say. Wacky, wacky, wacky. Immediately I found that there was a chemistry between you guys, and went back, listened to the previous issues, and was immediately hooked. So yeah, I'd just like to say thank you guys. It's been a great show, and it will continue to be a great show. It was back when I was first starting to look into rebuilding my collection. I'd only really seen Amiga 500s and 600s. I was really keen to get my hands on an Amiga 1200, and I eventually found one along with a CD32. And for those who have been watching the channel for a little while, you'll probably know that I create videos on my collection that I've got. I came across a fair haul of Amigas. I'm not trying to brag or anything, I just really do love these machines, and when I did come across quite a substantial load of Amigas, I was really excited, and I just wanted to connect with someone that would appreciate it. And there's no one in the area here that's into Amiga. They kind of look at you like you're very quaint when you mention old computers and Amigas and things like that, but I really love them. And I connected with John, sent John a message just to show him what I had, and John and Aaron both you know, showed a appreciation for the machines, and I thought, oh well, I'll do some videos, and I asked John if it was alright if I hopped on the old gamble train, and John replied and said, yeah, go ahead and submit videos if you want to, that's fine. I drug out my Amiga collection and started filming, and some of the machines were pretty beat down, and yeah, so they needed a bit of work. So I hooked up the old car to the gamble train and headed off down main trunk Amiga line to Commodore Station, and there we go. I've been doing videos ever since, so I've found that very rewarding and fun. One of the many things I really like about Amigos retro gaming are some of the sayings, and we don't hear a lot of West Virginian around these parts, so I actually like them so much I use them in my everyday life as much as I can. So yeah, I'd just like to say thank you also to all of the contributors to the podcast. That includes, you know, web hosting, domain name, web design, all sorts of different facets of you know, producing the show and keeping the website up to date and the YouTube channel, things like that. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You know, thanks very much, John and Aaron. I know that you know, this takes a lot of your time, your spare time, and it's really appreciated. So keep up the good work, and here's to another 200 episodes. Cheers, guys.
Thank you, Gary. You know, Gary is our hardware maven.
He's the master.
I still remember getting that first message when he was like, I just got 14 Amigas, you know, like, and I was like, man, that's awesome. You should definitely make a whole bunch of videos and put them on YouTube.
And he did. Gary's videos are very popular. Yes. Gary's been very generous to us as well over the years.
Yeah. Sent us the 600 and the Specky.
He's a real great guy. He's also he's very talented. Like I've mentioned this before, but I like his videos. He's got a down to earth way of explaining things, and that's the way I like it. I like it kept down for someone like myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, of course, we've got to read the Patreon names. Now, I was so busy putting this thing together this week, I'm not going to lie to you, I did not think up a good song to sing. So, it's going to have to wait till next week.
Like Fat Boy style.
How do you rap Fat Boy style?
You got to do the human beatbox.
Hyperventilate?
Noticeably F-18, lay us down a beat.
Why don't you beatbox, Aaron, at all?
I can't. Clearly.
Was that what you were doing?
I was trying to.
Okay.
I'm not the human beatbox.
So I'm just going to thank you all. Duncan said he sent a message. All right. I will read Duncan's message. Again.
The dunk. No,
sorry, guys. I'll edit all this out in post.
I love the dunk.
Dunk. Let's see. Did he send it to... Yeah,
that's some kind of bat watch you got on there?
Okay. Here we go.
Beautiful. That's
From
a
Duncan
full
Styles.
Yes.
Hey, John. Sorry, I had not time. Sorry, let's try that again.
Clearly, Duncan's a caveman. I know timely methods now.
Hi, John. Sorry, not had time to make a video, but I have written this. He says it in that weird British English style that trips me up.
Just the way you sounded like what was the Kid Chaos for a second there.
Congratulations, 200 episodes is one heck of an achievement. Did you think it would last this long?
No.
You asked us to tell you what the show meant to us, so here is how I sum it up. I cannot remember how I first found out about the podcast, and I have no idea what number episode you were on, but it was audio only. At that time, I hadn't really used my Amiga for many years, and it just sat in the cupboard. At first, the show was just something to listen to at work. It kept me entertained for an hour or so, and every now and then you would talk about something I remembered or a game I had played. Now the show has me playing old favorites and trying classics for the first time. Not just Amiga titles, but Spectrum too. I didn't own one back in the day as I was a CPC user, and it's interesting to see how the two compared. I became a supporter because I appreciate the work and the time you both put into all things Amigos. You even let me post articles and videos I've enjoyed making a tiny contribution where I can. And you've made more than a tiny contribution, Duncan.
Yeah, his stuff's really good.
Yeah. I just checked and I have 55 gigs of data that relates to Amigos stuff. Images, videos, and renders, etc. Remember, he rendered all of those intros for the award ceremony in January.
Those are awesome, too.
Yeah. You once left me off the supporters list for a couple of weeks, and to make up for it, you sang me my very own supporters song.
I'll never forget that.
I'll never forget that. Episode 117 for anyone that would like to hear that masterpiece. The Amigos have brought me back to these old machines and games, encouraged me to get the old systems set up again, and purchase new kit for them. Thanks for being the keystone in this growing community, and what a great bunch of people it is. Long may it continue. All the best, Duncan.
Awesome.
Thanks very much, Duncan. Sorry I forgot about your message.
Did you got to sing to him again?
Well, one more time. Duncan Styles. Okay.
Duncan Styles.
Have you got any more messages from Terry?
Oh, God.
Are we done? Anything else from Terry?
Well, so far.
So far, so good. Well, I will read the Patreon supporters, and if you get anything else, just let me know. We'll tack it on. Gary Heather, Free Lunch, Kate Fox, David Pickford, Cameron Armstrong, Andy Jones, Lobsterminator, Craig McClellan, 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast, Counting Virtual Sheep, Bernard Quinn, Retro Man Cave, Tim Drew, Simon Rose, Joseph Harrison, Kyle Etter, Rob O'Hara, Howard Nibbs, Matthew Larimore, Andy Craig, Shanzo, Darren Lomax, Colin 419, Barkbit, Roland Burke, Andrew Monks, Joe the Zombie, John Cook, Dan Ross, Leaf Kaland, Alan Kebab, Chicote, Level Lord, John Marshall, Matthew Perron, Ricky DeRocher, Creepy Dead Boy, Figgy CTZ, The Slow Norris, Stefan Sorgard Mortensen, Edvin Helland, Blindo75, Christopher Hassel, Ravi Abbott, Chris Folds, Dreamcatcher, Lauren Giroux, Graham Vebke, Lane Denson, Adam Battersby, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Gary Hucker, C. Brian Jones, Paul Harrington, Duncan Styles, Alan Kebab, Tapes from the Crypt, Josh Nan, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rulo, THT, Eric Nelson, Kim Tommy Hubertstad, Daniel Bingston, Brutal Barracuda, Darren Coles, Jason Warrens, Pixels at Dawn, and
Kilborn Barman.
Thank you guys so much for supporting this show throughout its 200 episode run.
You know, as you go down that list, I want to kick in. It seems like almost every one of those fellows and ladies, to a man Jack, it seems like we've interacted with them. The people could just send a couple bucks or whatever. These are people that get in there. They help out. We love it when people in the group put up videos or post stuff in the Discord. It's great. It's the best. And that's what makes doing this show so much fun, because me and Bud are just a couple dipsticks and Brent's a super dipstick. We just kind of lumber in like doopuses, do our thing. But the community keeps the ball rolling. They keep it fresh. They keep it fun for us, don't they?
That's
They help
absolutely
us
right.
out.
That's
They do
absolutely
stuff
right.
that we don't have the ability to do because we're dumb.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
And I do want to thank, you know who our very first Patreon supporter was?
Oh, was it O'Brien?
No, it was this guy right here.
Oh, God, no.
Brent Dowdy. Want to thank Brent for not only supporting us for many, many years, but also hosting the show. Thank you for hosting the show. And I want to thank, of course, Jason and our development team for keeping our website running.
And
Jason,
upgrading.
Yeah, Jason hosts the site through a wacky thing that I can't even pretend to understand. I want to thank everybody that's ever contributed anything to this site. You know, you guys are just the best.
We do
You're all the
appreciate
best.
you. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I want to thank Jonas for the magnets that he provides free of charge.
He's a real nice guy.
Yeah,
too.
he's a super awesome guy. O'Brien's for all of the packages over the years.
Been here forever.
Yeah, anybody that's ever sent us stuff in the mail, I know how expensive it is to send stuff from
Yes.
overseas. You guys are so awesome.
All the candy we've had, all the boxed games and stuff. It's been tons of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So I did not. The chat is screaming because I didn't announce last week winners. I will announce last week winners next week with the new Patreon song. I gotta leave something on the table so you guys tune in again next week. I can't leave it all
That's
out
the
there.
teaser?
That's the teaser.
Do you know what game we're doing next week, Bo?
I do. Next week we're playing Daley Thompson's Decathlon.
No, wrong show.
Oh, okay. We're playing Arabian Nights.
Arabian Nights.
You've never seen that movie?
No, I mentioned that. You know, I got it confused with Arabian from the arcade. Not the same game.
No, not even close.
I don't know.
It's kind of like confusing Aladdin with Lawrence of Arabia.
It's not. Yeah, it is. I admit it.
All right, guys. Thanks as always for watching. I want to thank everybody who's hanging out with us in the chat. We record the show every Friday, except when we don't. Picard 2005,
Make it
Gary
so.
Hucker, Edvin Helen, Kate P, Duncan Stiles, Michael Ryan, Pixels at Dawn, Jason Warrens, Will Williams, Lobsterminator X, Paul Harrington, might have said that twice, Hasifa, Andy Craig.
It's a who's who in here.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a cornucopia of our buddies and pals.
Thank you all so much. Anybody that I mean, the chat goes on for years. So
I love it. That's awesome.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for this special episode. And keep on playing the Amiga. We'll see you next week. Adios.
I love it.
All right. So now,
adios.
It's time for our live stream of fun, which means the first thing that we need to do is
live stream of fun.
Change microphones so all three of us can be heard easily.
That's the first thing I need to do is go to the lavatory of fun.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Hey, by the way, Brent, I have to notice that you not only did you give me the Lionheart box, but you get it's a budget cover. That's somehow appropriate. Also, I think it's Dutch.
I do like the budget cover because of the font.
I like the fact that I've got hair.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about who was that friend that you had that was way into the hair plugs?
Rich.
Have you ever thought about going that way?
Me?
Yeah.
Listen, Aaron didn't have enough money to stick hay in his head.
All right. Go get the other mic.
Look, chat, I'm in the big boy chair. Yeah, if there was an Amigos hair growth challenge, I would come in first, but it wouldn't be a good first. Hello, chat. I hope everyone is having a glorious day. Here in the States, we are preparing for a 3-day weekend, and I actually get a 4-day weekend. And many City of Heroes hours will be played. I'm sure my wife is just dying for me to get in the basement. It is a Memorial Day where we honor our fallen troops through World War I, World War II, and beyond. Kick me. Don't kick me. It'll hurt. It'll make me cry.
It wasn't quite as smooth. I hoped it would be.
Have you ever had a smooth episode? No. It was like, man, this was exact. No editing needs to be done.
Why don't I take the chair back? I'm going to ease out of here.
100% board game fun that we are playing right now.
If you're leaving at 6, then we're not even going to do this.
We are playing Russian Railroads.
I've got to leave around 6.
We're playing a lot of stuff online.
We already promised we'd do some stuff. I can do it later.
Not very, I would say, for the drunk level of Aaron and John.
Not at all, actually. Although I didn't have a prior engagement. Crazy.
I will say, since episode 50, I've cut way back on shows.
I didn't mention that. I forgot I was going to.
Yeah, that would have been something fun to mention.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
I don't even know anymore.
Look at that wavy hair that Lion Aaron got. Or Aaron Hart. Aaron Hart doesn't make any sense. This lion Aaron means I'm half lion.
No, you will be Aaron Hart and like it.
No, the wings of a bat. Right. Did I want to?
Brent, that explains why Brent's been messaging. He goes, hey, what's Boat's favorite Amiga game? I was just like, I almost said Adam's Family. I was like, and that was first.
That would have been way easier.
Well, this is much more unique.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Okay. And also, since you were just wearing that hat.
Right.
You gonna move that? Is that table coming out or is that staying?
It'll stay. It'll all stay. Player 1. Player 2's over here somewhere.
We've had no trouble with your USB since you got the new hub. Oh.
Well, it was a lot of it was just trying to do multiple webcams.
I mean, every crazy thing we.
Hey,
can
people
think
in chat. Do you guys have any game suggestions for this weekend, retro style? I know that. Oh, I'm gonna hit that, and everything's gonna fall.
My face. My face.
It came from the desert? No.
24 hours.
Who suggested that?
That would have been the Hass.
He's hassling you. Can I help you, bud?
No, I just roll around on chairs for fun.
What about lights?
Bubble Bubble. I'm not familiar with Bubble Bubble. Bubble Bubble?
Maybe Bubble Bobble?
Yeah.
Misspelled?
Bubble Bobble.
No, I mean, Bubble Bubble could very well be a game.
It could be.
It's not.
Bubbles is a game.
And remember, Bubble.
Yeah, no, he says Bubble Bubble. Yeah.
Okay.
I will look into that, Edvin.
Okay.
The Booze Master. Oh yeah, that mic. I forgot about that one.
Never
it's so
forget about
fancy.
Never. No. No one expects the mic. Hey, bro, can you hand me my Diet Mountain Dew? Dizu.
Can you hand me my regular Mountain Dew?
Yeah. I suppose. Why are you drinking regular Dew? That's not good for you.
Nothing's good for me.
Yeah, that's valid point.
I'm going to die young and leave a bloated corpse.
Well, guess what? You're getting. You're I don't know. No answer to that.
There you go.
I got nothing left. I used all my funny up. I love game time at Boats.
We haven't had game time. Remember we used to play the game every single week after the show?
Yeah, you hated that.
I did. I'm glad we stopped.
I can't believe you told everyone that you didn't play games. Even I didn't know that.
Yes, you did.
No,
I told you I never
like
played.
One or two times ever.
Well, yeah. Like there's only been one or two times ever I didn't play the game.
I said I don't want to know.
There were 2 times. I'll tell you what they were. TV sports basketball.
You kicked my ass at that.
Well, yeah, I played it later, but I didn't play it the week of the show. And Fiendish Freddy, because I couldn't get that to work either.
I love that game.
Man, TV Sports is such a good game.
Yeah.
Holy
yeah,
moly.
he beat me like a dog at it after I bragged about how great I was. You sort of made me look
You're
like
not
a jerk.
that good, really.
Okay, here we go. The word for speed is fart in Norwegian. That's information for life. Thank you, boss man. Okay.
Boss man.
All right.
So like boats breaking into NORAD over here.
I don't know why I've got two
microphones of fun.
Yeah.
And now we only have one microphone of sort of fun.
He's got two turds.
Oh, here we go.
And a microphone.
Okay, so it's time to play. What shall we play?
If only we had a wheel.
All right, the
Didn't we have a bit planned for the wheel? I just thought about that.
That would have been a nightmare.
I can't remember what it was.
It was we were going to spin the wheel and do that segment. Unfortunately, the way the wheel goes, we'd spin like the same segment 3 times in a row, and we wouldn't be able to do anything about it.
Then the wheel pieces would come flying out.
Boat hates the wheel now.
I don't hate the wheel.
He told me to ditch the wheel last night. Yeah, I get it.
Oh yeah, I don't think it makes sense for it to go on an ARG because what happens is you keep rolling stuff that you don't want to do.
No, generally I want to do it.
Play Bubble Bubble.
Okay.
Is that actually there?
Bubble Bubble. Nope, that's Bubble Bubble.
Oh, I was as stunned as
Bubble
I've
and
ever
Squeak.
been.
Bubble Gun. Rainbow Islands. Bubble Plus. Nope.
Bubble Plus?
That's Bubble Ghost.
Oh.
Okay, Bubble Bobble.
All right.
Now, one thing I have not done
The old gimmick.
is
set up a scene.
Right.
I'm Bubble. He's Bubble. Dee-da-dee.
Finally, the blessings have come full circle for our chat.
Let's try this. Oh boy! Whenever you move the right stick, or the thumb, the trackpad, accidentally brush it with your thumb. You did something. Maybe it's yep. So is the control panel mapped to the mouse?
Oh, that would be horrible. Why would anyone ever do that?
I don't know. Okay.
The funny thing is that I can't control anything in game. I can only control things.
Because I'm not clicked on the window. This is awesome. I'm so glad we decided to do this.
This was your idea.
Whenever we shift to actually like playing the Amiga, things go south quick.
It's not the Amiga's fault.
It's all the Amiga's fault.
Good night, Springton. There will be no encore.
Alright. I'll just do this.
He only played games for 20 minutes.
Okay. It's time.
I knew this is the way this was going to go down. Because me and Bo used to do this all the time. And it was a weekly struggle. And Bo would sit there, the stupid Amiga, I can never get nothing to work.
There we got no in-game audio.
It's okay.
I can sing it for you.
Okay, hold on a second.
All right.
Audio output capture. Unmute. That didn't do anything. Is there no music in the Amiga version of Bubble Bobble?
No, there is.
Is there no two-player support in the Amiga version of Bubble Bobble?
Do you not have control over your guy?
I do not.
Oh. Not even like right now?
Nope.
All right.
How about now?
And that was Bubble Bubble, folks.
Good night, folks. Happy 200. See you next week. Bye-bye.